Karolis Verkutis of Lithuania, his lifetime best set this year of 23.64. Zheng Yongyang, season best of 34.49. Lifetime best a couple of metres further than that. Diego Meneses, who took bronze in Tokyo in 2020. 35.71, his best so far this year. Morocco's Azzedine Nouri. And on his left, Hussein Kaidi, who took silver back in 2017, bronze in Rio. He was a gold medalist back in London in 2012 at the Paralympic Games. Louis Gervais Baha of Cameroon.
Representing Tunisia, the African record holder, Fawzi Zig.
Two athletes left to be introduced. Fawzi Razig, the penultimate one, with a season best of 33.68, and Mauricio Valencia of Colombia. The reigning world champion took silver in Tokyo in 2020. He'll be looking to add another world championship to his name. I'm Tolson Tollett, Will Downing alongside me, and last but not least, squeezed in between us is the former gold medalist from London 2017, Steph Reid. Good morning to you both.
Very good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Bastille Day.
Is it just me, or is anyone else really tired this morning? I woke up and I just thought the range of emotions that I've been through. And then I thought there's been a lot of athletes that have also been on the track, coming through a lot of heats and a lot of finals, and perhaps I probably shouldn't mention that I'm tired.
Well, do you know what? 10 world records yesterday, championship records aplenty. We've got 4 field finals this morning. We've got 2 on the track. Marcel Hughes going in for a double. He's trying to make it 1,500 and 5,000 metres double. So we might be looking at more world championship records this morning. Who knows? What I do know is it's the women's discus throw F41 final coming up shortly.
Athletes of shorter stature. And there will be 10 going in this. And that means the ultimate great, Raoul Tilly as well, who's already struck gold this week in the shot. Which he tends to do every competition. So the big question is, who can keep up with her? We shall see. So here's the field. And we start off with Ecuador and Estefany Lopez, lifetime best this year of 29.26, which is decent going. Yusuf Karim has been champion previously. She of Morocco, she was 5th in the Paralympic Games in Tokyo 2 years ago. Sama Benkulab of Tunisia. Ayat El Gara. Which is a very familiar surname in this competition. But Raoul Tilly, who's already struck gold in the shot this week, the world record holder, the defending champion, the Paralympic champion, and here's the European champion, Renata Sawinska of Poland. Charlotte Bolton of Canada, we may well be seeing a lot of today. She's on the brink of a 30-meter lifetime best. Sarultugs Dagvaroj of Mongolia. Who's looking to be a campaigner today. Antonella Ruiz of Argentina. Well, 28.14, her lifetime best. And Mariam Al-Ziyudi from a very talented sporting family. And she is also an international powerlifter, as is her sister. Musa, who we also see in this event quite a bit, but not this one this time. This is what we have coming up. We've got 3 field event finals, which will be largely simultaneous. Men's javelin F34, that'll be seated, so all the attempts at once. The discus throw F41, athletes of shorter stature, the shot put F46. In the ambulant categories, we've got the men's long jump T38 as well, coordination impairments. That'll be in about an hour's time. We've got finals coming up. Marcel Hug going for a double. 5 goals for Switzerland so far. He's got 1, Shah 1. And a fantastic De Bruyne hat-trick with the 100 and the 400 to come for her, in which she is the reigning champion. Going for a 5-timer. Now the scouts are in, which could be very useful later. It is Bastille Day, the national holiday of France, which means there were lots of fireworks last night. Also meant the public transport ended quite early. Well, it was a lovely evening. Just in case you were wondering where we were. So of the 3 early field event finals, we've introduced you to 2 of the fields, and we've got 1 more to come. Nice golf swing, by the way. So Sachin Kalari of India. So 16:37 is lifetime best, which is very close to the world record, and we're seeing the holder of that shortly. Kerwin Nuemdo of South Africa, who is a 16:13 man in his career. So again, we're expecting him to be very high up today.
Andres Skuja of Lithuania, who was bronze back in 2018. He was the European champion in 2016. Abdel Al-Salah, his lifetime best of 14:28. He's well down on that this year. Here is Joshua Sinemo, the reigning world champion who took bronze in Tokyo in 2020. He'll be looking to go back-to-back in the Worlds. Luka Bakovic of Croatia, that lifetime best set this year, so big hopes for the Ukrainian as he looks to medal. Hamza Dogan of Turkey, 13:38, his lifetime best, yet to compete this season. Matthias Uwe Schulze, European champion in 2018, silver in the Worlds in 2017, and bronze back in 2013 in Lyon. Rasim Yakin of Azerbaijan, haven't they had a championship so far? And Raivo Maxim of Latvia. Great season for him so far, setting that lifetime best of 12:53. So Sinemo is the world champion. There are 10 to go in the men's shot put F46 category. So the opening 3 field events have been introduced, and these are the season bests, what you're looking at. Kalari there, 16:23. Lifetime best of 16:37, so not too far off that this season. Sinemo, 15:58. He'll have some work to do if he's to get up near Kalari assuming Kalari throws a season best. So the athletes just settling in, getting their cells ready to go. We know the order. We know they're ready. We are just about ready to get underway in this third field event of the morning. Down the far end there, we have two which have been introduced. In the men's javelin throw, F34 away to our left, but that, what you're looking at there, is the reigning champion. She's won gold here in the shot put already. She is the great Rawa Tulili of Tunisia with her opener. Fifth to go, and that is out over the 30-metre mark. But it won't count.
In the discus, you can see from the throwing circle there are two white lines, and unfortunately that discus landed just outside, and all that is it's just releasing at the wrong point as you're doing that spinning motion. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to keep track of where you are in the circle. Something she'll correct. She's done this several times before, and they have 6 throws. That is just one of 6.
Well, she set a world record in her first throw in the shot put just a couple of days ago, so she goes for it straight away at the beginning, and a lot of athletes, their best throw will be their first. I suspect her next one won't be a foul. She'll get a mark. Next up, Slavinska of Poland. She won gold in the shot put at the Paralympic Games. Renata Slavinska, silver medalist back in 2018 in Berlin in the European Championships in this one. She has fouled as well.
You can just see on that discus as well, it was shaking a little bit in the air. And there's 2 things you have to do. One, you have to translate a lot of power to the discus, but also you need to release it so that it's flying smooth, almost like an airplane wing.
Canada well represented here at these games, and here is Charlotte Bolton with her first. Her lifetime best is 29.65. It won't be near that, but she's been given a foul as well. Well, we're rattling through this, aren't we? There's been 4 fouls in a row. We've already seen 7 first up in the opening round. It could be a very quick competition.
You can see there the foul. So in that case, the discus did stay within the throwing zone, but if you step outside of the circle, or in that case, she lost her balance a little bit at the end of the rotation and stepped forward, that's when the judge was giving her that foul. But you're right, sometimes it's almost like the fouls are infectious in a competition, and the nerves are obviously just running high. There's lots of tension, but it just takes everyone to have a moment, have a chat with their coach, and resettle.
Well, that one's over 20 metres by Sariltas Dagvador. Just on that 20-metre mark. This time we do have a mark for the Mongolian. .20.04, a season best for the Mongolian, and she has moved into 3rd position, has Dagvadoj. Down to the other end of the men's shot put, F46, which is just underway. Abdullah Asalah of Kuwait, here's the 4th to go. All 3 before him have had legal throws. That one there under the 13-metre mark. 13.65 is his season best, but that won't count. Commentators cursed again, saying that all 3 beforehand have been legal. That one is illegal. I've still got it. So next up, the reigning world champion, Joshua Sinemo. 16.80 is his lifetime best. Sinemo, disappointing so far this season though, only 15.58 his season best. So the adrenaline of a big time competition may well help him out. The reigning champion, he was bronze in 2020. He holds the world and championship record at F46 level. Championship record he set with that world record in Dubai 4 years ago, his lifetime best, and that one is out over the 15-metre mark. That should be enough to see him into the lead. Kalari of India, 15.15 with his opener. He's currently in top spot. Well, I said he's had a disappointing season so far. 15.58, his season best. A bit of positivity with the crowd here, and a new season best of 15.76 with his opener. Takes the reigning champion into the lead after his first throw.
And now it's a good season for him. Well, we're also flying through this event, but it's Josh Sinemo, so strong, so good in Dubai, who's at the front of it here. So Luka Bakovic going for Croatia. And what a brilliant throwing nation they've developed into in the last 10, 15 years or so. They've a terrific annual meeting in Zagreb. That should put him up quite high in the standings, frankly. He's a 15-20 man this year. That's his lifetime best.
You can just see on the throwing spin technique there, the circle actually continues once they've kept throwing. And again, this is a limb deficiency category, and you have to think about how those forces change in the circle when your arms don't match.
So Bakovic up into the bronze medal position. 14.34, Hamza Doğan of Turkey. And that's a bit shorter than the standards he set this year, which is 13.38. Red flag. He didn't even want to see that measured. That's only the second miss of the competition so far. They are one of a number of nations that now wish internationally in English to be referred to by their own name in their own language. So on a certain airline, you fly into Istanbul these days, you get a little video coming up saying hello Turkey, just to remind you. Matthias Schulze now of Germany. Well, he's one of the longest throwers in the world all time. 15 meters 60. But that wasn't it. The man who won silver in London in 2017.
Some athletes will choose to throw with the straight line technique as opposed to the spinning. And theoretically, the spin actually should give you more speed and therefore more distance. However, if you don't have the balance at the end of it, then that's not going to work. And so you have to make a decision between being balanced when you release the shot put and giving up maybe a little bit of initial speed.
So, as usual, lots happening at the Stade Charlotte. By the Porta Gentile. We're starting off with the men's 100 meters T11. It is complete visual impairment. We'll be seeing the world record holder very shortly. So there are 5 heats in this. Winner of each heat plus the next 7 qualify for the semi-finals. So now, having celebrated his 4th World Championship medal here in the long jump, it is the former European 400 champion Juan Manuel Martinez of Spain. In lane 3 for Germany. He's only going in the 100 here. 4th in the European 100 meters final in Bydgoszcz 2 years ago, Marcel Butke and his guide Alexander Kosenkov. In lane 5 for Namibia, his country's first ever gold medalist at either a Paralympic or Olympic Games, Ananias Chikongo and his guide Evan Tsiuju. And in lane 7 for France, 4th here in the 400 meters final. But he has been a Paralympic silver medalist before, the former world champion in 2006 in the 100 meters, Gautier Makunda and his guide Jacques Bellon. It's only the top finisher guaranteed a spot in the semi-finals. Juan Manuel, Butke, Chikongo, Makunda. Well, it was he and Timothy Adolphe in the 400 final. They would have loved 2 medals. It was only 1 between them in the end. But they would love to achieve that in the 100 meters. Juan Manuel in lane 1, Marcel Butke in 3, Chikongo in 5, Makunda in lane 7. Again, a lot of time needed to be set. Total silence needed from the stadium. Complete visual impairment. Munar in 1, Butke, Chikongo, Makunda. And they will reset because, actually, maybe it's just because of the fact there's a siren passing the stadium. And there have been a few times this week when there's been total silence here. You can hear the trams passing by.
You could just see there's actually quite a lot of movement in the blocks, and the guide there for Makunda Berland, he's actually raised his hand because he's just decided, I'm not settled, and the best thing you can do at that moment, with this being 100 and the start being so important, is to see if you can just take a moment and reset.
Well, they're all well experienced by this stage. First championship medal for Makunda was actually in Athens 2004, the Paralympic Games, claimed the silver in that. So Munar in 1, his guide is Guillermo Rocco, by the way. Lane 3 for Germany, Marcel Butke with Alexander Kosenkov. Lane 5, Ananias Chikongo with Evan Tsiuju. And in lane 7 for France, Gautier Makunda with Jacques Bellon. Munar has been European champion, Chikongo Paralympic champion, Makunda world champion. Only the heat winner will definitely be in the semi-finals, but 7 places for everyone else. Well, now they are away. I have to say, a really solid start by Chikongo, and 5 is continuing it well. Makunda trying to keep up, and Butke going well here for Germany. It's Butke and Chikongo, and Butke just gets it. 11:34 is very close to his lifetime best. He has never reached a global final on the track. 4th in the 100 meters final in Bydgoszcz 2 years ago. How far can he go here? He's finished ahead of Chikongo, who I think in second place should be okay. They've both been given the same time, actually. But it was Butker who was marginally in front. Mukunda in third will have quite a weight on. 11.93. If he gets through, he's not going to find out until very late in these 5 heats. But Marcel Butker with a brilliant finish after an excellent start by Shikongo.
That was a great race from Butker, and we know how important qualification spots are in these T11 heats because only one athlete is guaranteed a spot in the final. And it's interesting to see that many of these men we've already seen before in different sprint races. He has decided only to contest the 100 meters. So he is putting all of his eggs in one basket and has the advantage of coming into this event fresh.
Absolutely, just got it on the line. There wasn't much of a dip from him. There was from Shikongo. Obviously, the guide will always shout and give the cue to dip. Shikongo did that, but he was still edged out. What an electric finish. Great maneuvering from Marcel Butker. And he has earned that reward. Butker takes it. Same time as Shikongo, down 2000s. Butker through. Shikongo will have to hang on, but I think that time should be okay. Famous last words, of course. Overcast morning. It is somewhat cool. It's not the coldest morning we've had. Generally, it's been baking here, but it is, I think, quite clement for the athletes this morning.
Here's Raul Tulili with her opener. She fouled. I suspect she won't make it 2 in a row. Well, that is huge. It stayed just inside by millimeters. The officials were right on the spot. I don't think I've ever seen discus that close to being called a foul and staying in. So Tulili will get a mark. She holds the F41 World and Championship records. The championship record 34.48, 37.91 the world record. That was set in Tokyo in 2021 at the Paralympic Games. Championship record for Raul Tulili. She's well and truly into first place. Karim in second, El Garrar in third at present. She looks to make it a discus throw and shot put double, which she has done many times in the past.
And the thing about Tulili as well, I mean, 12 global golds across the shot, the discus, 6 Paralympic, 6 world. She's still only 33 years old. She can dominate this for a very, very long time to come.
Well, gosh almighty, my voice after last night was just about still there. If this continues today, well, we might be in a bit of trouble.
You'll be doing ads for Harvey Norman next. Other stores
we're still
are available.
with the F41 shot put. Sama Ben Khalib. Jokes get worse every day.
In the throwing events, the weight of the implement changes for the various classifications. And in this case, the women's F41 throw a 750-gram discus. Same shape as the rest of them, but just a difference in the weight.
Yeah, this of course has a couple of F40s in it and F41. We roll around the opposite end of the track because we have lots more to look forward to in the shape of the second heat of the men's 100 metres T11, which is coming up imminently. Now, we just talk about the races, but what is great to see is those camera angles that we get. And getting you right up close and personal with those athletes.
I think it is helpful because sometimes when you watch from the television, you don't actually get to appreciate just the speed or the physicality, and it's not until you get up close and personal. Like sometimes you'll see someone on TV and you meet them and you think, wow, they're a lot taller, they're a lot shorter than I was thinking.
It's all right, Steph, I thought the same of you. Gavalas with the world record. Lucas Prado, who isn't here, has that championship record. And is the current world champion, but is not competing. So first up, in lane 1, Uzbekistan's Igam Nazarov was 4th in the long jump at these championships already, so his second appearance of this competition. Gerard Descarrega, who was a gold medalist in the 400 in 2016 and 2020 at the Paralympics, and silver here in the 400. Felipe de Sousa Gomez, gold in the 400 metres already. Bronze medalist in this event back in 2019. And Namibia's Alfred Bernardo didn't get out of the heats in 2019. Lifetime best set this year of 11.76. So Prado, the world champion, isn't competing in this event. Gavalas will go in the next heat. He is the Paralympic champion. That man there knows about winning medals. He's already picked up one here in the 400. Usually excels over that longer distance, so this is much more of a challenge for a 400-metre runner, because you need to get up to speed straight away over that first 30 or so metres and then hold that and accelerate towards the end as you push down the track. Now, this is the T11 category, of course. It means it takes a little bit of extra time, and we have the tether, which has to be applied. Guide and athlete the whole way down the track. Athlete has to cross the finishing line first for a legal run to be considered. So they get away, and it is Descarrega who gets away fastest of all, but on the outside pushing through, it's Gomez of Brazil. Descarrega and Gomez at it. It is going to be Descarrega who's going to take it. Gomez in second, and it's the Uzbekistani athlete Igam Nazarov on the inside lane who finishes in third place. 11.44 the time from Gerard Descarrega of Spain. He's claimed silver over 400. That was a fast run there for him in the 100 metres going through and qualifying an 11.44. Slight headwind into his face of 0.3, but that won't affect him. De Sousa Gomez, 11.55 in second place. He'll now have to wait. We do have the 7 fastest will advance to the semi-final, so I suspect he will be going through. An equal lifetime best for Igam Nazarov of Uzbekistan, 11.80.
Watching them power out of the blocks, I think there's a danger in thinking this looks so easy. And yesterday we did see just how dangerous it can be when it goes wrong. We saw Salvatini go down, and that's what happens. But to watch these two athletes as they power their limbs in perfect synchronicity, and you could see it right from the start. We had a beautiful photo of just the way it was Gerard and his guide interlock their fingers as they got into those blocks, and they really are having to run as one single unit.
It got tight towards the end. You can see the athlete going across before the guide. That is part of the T11 category. Complete visual impairment. They must run with the guide, and the athlete has to go across the line before the guide. They get 2 lanes between them because of that complete visual impairment and needing a guide. Quite something to behold when you look at it and think about it. And they are very fast athletes indeed. Confirmation of that result, and Descarrega goes through 11.44. Sousa Gomez will have to wait, but he should go through 11.55. 7 fastest qualifiers going through, and Igam Nazarov, lifetime best equal for him.
Well, the best thing to come out of San Diego since Simon & Simon. Josh Sinema, the Para-Pan Am champion in this, the world record holder, the world champion, the Paralympic bronze medalist, and another solid effort. 15.76 in the opening round. It is Kalari of India who leads with an Asian record of 16.21, the championship debutant. It's beyond 15 meters. I can't quite guarantee it's longer than his first effort. It's close to it. He had a season best in the opening round of 15.76.
You could see Sinemo there just having a quick word with his coach, and he looks frustrated. It looked like there was some sort of timing issue, and that is the reality of shot put. You can be incredibly strong, but if you don't have the technique and you can't harness that power, you are not going to throw as far as you can.
So 15.49, he stays in second position. Luka Bakovic currently lying in fourth place, not wasting any time or standing on ceremony. That is, with the man currently lying in fourth place in his first global championships. A great opening for him to break into the top three here. He was very close to it. Cohen Nomedo of South Africa is currently lying in third position, 15 meters 12. Noemdo, should I say, sorry. And Bakovic goes into third, 15.13. We've just seen Hamza Doan currently lying in 10 spots. 10 meters 70 in round 2. That is third attempt. And just trying to move himself up. I think he might just have done that. Has to get into the top 8 with his third attempt to finish off. It's 12.05, and the reason you can't see his name there is he's in 9th. So we don't see him again in this competition, I'm afraid to say. Schulze in 5th, 13.97. Silver in 2017, bronze in 2013 in Lyon. That's an improvement, because that's knocking on the door of 15 meters.
I like to see it when an athlete perhaps doesn't start the competition as they might want to, but they don't panic. He started with 12.48, which is well below what he's capable of, and he's just quietly worked his way through, just coming back to his cues, and that is exactly what you need to do in a situation like this.
Brilliant throwing for Schulze. 14.57, and he stays in 5th place. Great week for Azerbaijan. Can Yakin improve it? Well, he'll need to improve 11.80.
Well, Yakin finished with his throw, and who'd like to be a groundsman or woman? Those pot marks. Now, it's very difficult as well, because the more pot marks that are on the ground, the officials have to pay even more attention, because they need to get there and make sure they've got the correct mark when they're giving the distance for those athletes. And well, that's going to be quite some job come the end of these championships. I wouldn't like to have that one.
But you can see them just lingering, and you're right, they are paying attention, because on the one hand you don't want to get hit by that shot, but at the same time you need to make sure you're putting that measuring mark in the right spot.
Rivo Maxims is up for his third, 13.47, and in 6th position.
Speaking of the measuring, you could actually just see to his right when he throws, there's no measuring tape being used at the moment, and that's machined just there on those yellow legs, and it's actually measuring electronically, so we know that it is exceptionally accurate. But that is, again, why it's very important that the officials put that mark in the right spot, because centimeters can decide this.
Well, Maxims doesn't improve. He stays in 6th position, 13.47 for him. Kalari leads at the moment as we move down back to heat number 3 in the men's 100 metres T11.
And we are set to go for heat 3 of 5. And the world record holder is in this. And there he is, the reigning European and Paralympic champion, Athanasios Gavalis, with his guide Demetrios Chrysafis in lane 5. Silver in the long jump here in his championship debut with his guide Lin Jiangjin. It is Ye Tao. And in lane 7 for Canada, national record holder George Corker with his guide France John. It's his 2nd World Championships. He was in London 6 years ago, 10th his best spot. Originally from Ghana, Fred Mesisa in lane 1 is not in lane 1. He doesn't start. Gavalis, Ye Tao and Corker are the 3 going in this.
I said keep the laughter down. Anyone think you're having fun in there? I'll leave you to it, shall I?
So, Athanasios Gavalis, 10.82 is world record in claiming Paralympic gold. 10.98 is his season's best, which is that's about the fastest in the world this year. So Gavalis in 3, Ye Tao in 5, Kwoku in 7. Only the winner certain to get through. The usual readjustment and silence. Gavalis in 3, Ye Tao in 5, Kwoku in lane 7. And they're away, and Gavalis is away really well in lane 3, and Kwoku in 7. But Canada started brilliantly, but here comes Gavalis now. He's on his way, dips well, 11.05, that's a nice time. And there is no doubt for him whatsoever. He had a little bit of a job to do. He didn't have the best start over 30 metres, that was George Kwoku, and he just fell back a little bit after that. Gavalis, the reigning European and Paralympic champion, started very well indeed, and Kwoku I thought was very impressive for Canada until Gavalis began to dominate.
I mean, Gavalis certainly looks to be the man to beat in this event, and I have to say, if I was his guide, I think I would start a little bit nervous. If you think about the fact that in order to guide effectively, you probably have to be around, well, at least half a second, possibly a full second faster, because you are having to adjust your stride to match your athletes. You have to be able to maneuver and guide them, communicate with them, and my goodness, with a PB of 10.98 for Gavalis, imagine how strong and confident the guide needs to be to match that.
No fear for Gavalis at all. That is the fastest time by a decent margin. Gavalis, 11.06, not leaving himself much time to muse on it. Ye Tao will have to wait. Kwoku is in 3rd. And Fred Mesisa was not, unfortunately, in the race.
Well, excitations indeed as we move across back to the shot put. It's the women's shot put. Discus, I should say. Confusing myself. F41. That's out around the 30-metre mark. for Hayat Algara.
I was just looking at the wind reading there, and most athletes will always want a tailwind, but actually in this event, sorry, by wind reading I meant the wind flag. In this event, you actually want to have a bit of a headwind, because what it does is it actually gives that discus a little bit of lift, kind of like what you would get from an airplane. So it's not huge, but hopefully it's keeping the athletes quite happy.
Well, Algara, 29.69, she stays in 4th position, the gold medalist from London 2012. We're staying with the discus. It is 2nd placed Yousra Karim of Morocco, 35.42 with that previous throw. Puts her in the silver medal position, and that one isn't too dissimilar. Silver medalist at both the last World Championships and the last Paralympic Games. Currently in the silver medal position again. Now Talili leads with that championship record we saw around 5 or 10 minutes ago. Karim 35.42. This one around about the same mark, between 30 and 35 metres. So 32.81, she remains in the silver medal position, having won those silvers in the last 2 major championships in the Worlds and Paralympics. But here comes Rowan Talili. So she's had 2 fouls out of her first 3 attempts. Now, if they'd have been the first 2, we may have been worrying somewhat. It wasn't. It was the second one, which was a championship record. You only need 1 good throw, and that may be enough as she steps back up to the mark. Perennial gold medalist in the Paralympics in 2008, 16 and 20. She's already won the shot put here. She's a gold medalist in this and the last 3 World Championships, looking for 4 in a row, and she goes with throw number 4. Well, you heard the roar, and you've seen the distance. The last one that counted for her only stayed slightly inside the marker. That shows you the fine margin. She may well have had 3 fouls and been out, but number 2 stayed in. This one was a bit like my golf swing and went to the right as well. But Talili, 35.04, she doesn't improve on her 2nd round mark, but she does stay in the lead by 1 metre and 58 centimetres over Yousra Karim, who's in the silver medal position. Lopez, with a new area record, is currently in 3rd.
Josh Sinemo, as you can tell, visually ready to go for his 4th attempt. Lying in 2nd, 15.76. 16.21 is the lead, which is the world record holder. It's certainly within his range. Everything's within his range. That was 2. That looks to be one of the best of the day. It's certainly around the mark. That's his best, but is it going to edge him closer to our leader for India, Kalari?
I love looking at the footwork there, and we tend to think about throwers as just these really powerful people, and yet there is so much grace. I mean, they say music is everything. Just imagine if you put a different soundtrack to those feet. Well, Tulson, you were a dancer. You revealed to us yesterday.
Once upon a time, the coach likes it. Well, Beds Are Burning is playing out. His feet were burning just then as he spun around and threw that shot put.
Sinemo, 15.94, stays in 2nd place. Hope you've been enjoying the highlights. Kalari, with his 4th attempt, goes beyond 15 metres. He won't improve. If you've been watching the highlights program, it means that a lot of the crew here have been very much burning the midnight oil. That's not beyond 16 metres. Tell you what, still going to be his 2nd best attempt of the day. Kalari's 16.21. None of his other attempts have come close to that, frankly, until this. Had a great week, 15.61, and he's still in front.
Well, this will continue. The men's shot put F46 final. Steph Reed talking about spotting. Then, in case you're wondering what she was talking about, to put it into context, yes, I do have a bronze medallion in Latin American and ballroom dancing. I understand spotting and pirouetting. I will not be dancing though until after these championships are finished. Fully focused, as are these athletes here. And the next up heat of the men's 100 metres T11. It is heat number 4 of 5. 23-year-old at his first major championship. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Omar Bocic, D Dong Dong, gold in the long jump already. Bronze in this event in 2020 and bronze way back in Doha in 2015. Chris Kinder, who has competed in the 400 metres. He made the semi-finals and that of these championships. These, his debut at a major championships. And 44 years of age, Daniel Mendes, 4x100 metres gold in 2016 in his home Paralympics. His first major championship back in 2011. Only the first place will definitely go through to the semi-finals, and then after that it'll be the next 7 fastest across the 5 heats who qualify to the semis. So 4 to go. Just talk us through, Steph, the process when they get going, this being the T11 complete visual impairment.
Well, you can see that actually a lot of the athletes will use their hands to orient themselves. We've seen some athletes actually touch their blocks. Sometimes they'll hold their arms up in front of them just to give their body that feeling of the direction they need to go, because in this class, the men's T11, there's no sight, and that's part of the reason why they're wearing the eye coverings, just to make it an even playing field across the board. And so the guide really has to be their eyes for them.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, Bocic goes in lane 1, D in 3, Kinder in 5, and Mendes in lane 7. Men's 100 metre T11, number 4 of 5, and getting away really quick was D Dong Dong. He is absolutely flying. Kinder doing his best to catch up, but it's going to be D Dong Dong who's going to take it in a time of 11.59 seconds for the Chinese athlete, who's already claimed the gold medal in the long jump, and that speed he showed then is part of the reason why he is so good at long jump as well. He flies down that track. He gets the jump when he does long jump, and he finished that race really well, and he and his guide working ever so well in tandem. That looked absolutely supreme from D Dong Dong. He won bronze back in 2015. With form like that, he may be adding a gold medal 8 years down the track. He looked superb. Mendes with a season best in 3rd, Kinder in 2nd, looked strong as well.
I think one of my favorite things about that race was when Dee's guide, well, we'll see right there, right now, again, perfect synchronicity. You can see how they're using that tether. There are rules that govern that tether. It cannot be elastic, but he's going to be looking around his guide. He's checking out where they were. He was speaking to him as they went down that runway, and that is an excellent example of perfect synchronicity and communication. And we talk a lot about equipment. Just a note on the bibs. My question for the technical official is, do they get washed in between? They do. It's been very hot and very sweaty.
After each day, I suspect not after each race, that might be a little bit difficult. Not quite warm enough to dry them in that period of time. Those lights, if you put it close enough to it, they may work. Not as hot today as it has been over the past few days. A little bit overcast, but it is starting to warm up, I can confirm. Late 20s later on this afternoon are forecast here for the south of Paris at Stade Charlotte, so it's a pleasant day.
3 field events happening right now. Rawat Lily is happening right now. Her 5th attempt, she leads in this women's discus F41. The perennial champion. Championship record in round 2 of 37 meters. And she leads by just about 1.5 meters over Yusra Karim of Morocco. Championship record, she has added over 2 meters to. She's within 1 meter of her current world record. She's already struck 1 gold this week. She's on her way to another. That is beyond 30 meters. It's just stayed in. A few of those throws have been going quite wide, but not too wide. They've just stayed inside the quadrant. She's had 2 no throws. That's her 3rd good throw. Very good throw.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that it keeps going to one side. I mean, ideally, you would want it to go down the center, but this is just another example of sometimes things are different on the day, and you have to be good enough that you have enough bandwidth that even when you're not doing it as you want to, you can still win and set championship records.
Well, 34 meters 40 doesn't improve. As we return to one of the leaders in the shot put, so sorry Charlotte Bolton fans, we'll keep you up to date with how she does, because Cinemo here, currently lying in 2nd spot in this men's shot put F46. He's looking for just about 30 centimeters extra on top of what he's done so far in the opening round. It's just gone beyond 15 meters. This is the single arm amputee category, which means there's obviously a bit of leverage lost.
He's just stepped out of the circle there, and him stamping on it has called it a foul.
Yeah, just to draw the red flag. He's not happy with it, so.
Interesting to see as well. He actually spins the opposite way of most of the throwers that we've seen today.
So that's his 2nd no throw of the competition, and he needs 1 major attempt to go to try and overtake this man, the leader for India, who are having a week of it, Kalari. 16:21 in round 2. None of his other attempts would have him in the lead. He's put a lot into it, but he's just stepped out of the circle, and it's a red flag. And so, no chance to extend on it.
Now this was interesting. He's actually been throwing in a bit of a hat up until this point, but the sun has come out and he's taken it off. And I think the reason he's doing it, which is very clever, is that for power events, they found that you compete better in the afternoon because your body temperature is hotter. And so perhaps he is using science to his advantage.
16:21 for Kalari. And it stays that way. Just mentioning Charlotte Bolton, by the way, we were seeing her about to throw. She actually still has not thrown. That was about 2 or 3 minutes ago from Tilsonburg in Ontario, her championship debut. There was a reset for the 6th round in terms of throwing order, which means there's normally a gap. We're in the same situation in this shot put, so I suspect the same thing actually has to happen here. So it's curious how these 2 throwing events all at once are going into the 6th and final round simultaneously, but because they're resetting the order in ascending order for the final round, it means that, as you see, the officials are coming in just informing the athletes of that, which is a reasonably recent change, both in this and the global athletic scene, if you wish. What a lovely morning it's turning out to be now.
It's actually got really warm. In the last 15 minutes, it has actually changed and got exceptionally warm. So for those athletes who are about to go in the final heat of the men's 100 metres T11 category, they are going to feel the full brunt of the heat. New Zealand have done very well. Daniel Aitchison will go again today after winning a silver medal a couple of days ago. And there is a wonderful pan around the stadium. Main stand to the left there. Shot putters down to the right as you look at that. As we head the opposite way from the finishing line past the long jump pit on your left and straight down to the end of the start of the 100 metre mark, where Will Downing will take you through the final heat in the men's 100 metres T11 visual impairment category.
Well, a full field of 4 in this, and one of the week's medalists features. So in lane 1 for Cameroon, went out in the heats of the 4 here. He finished 15th in the shot put at the last Worlds in Dubai. That's Charles Atangana and his guide Mustafa Zima Mugnol. In lane 3, the world 400 metres, European 400 champion, the former European 100 champion twice, Timothy Adolphe, and his guide Charles Renard. For Bahrain, it is welcome aboard to Hussein Mohammed and his guide Hussein Mashaima. And in lane 7 for Spain, 4th in the 100 metres in the Europeans, but bronze in the 400 in Bydgoszcz 2 years ago. That is only championship medal to date. It is Eduardo Uceda and his guide Jaime Del Rio. Again, it is just the winner of this heat who goes through. But it is the 5th of the 5, Atangana, Adolphe, Mohammed and Uceda in it. Top 7 will go through. Anyone faster than 11.93, finishing outside of the winner here, will go through. George Quarko is through for Canada, 11.70. Ye Tao, Felipe da Silva, and Ineas Shikongo, 11.36. He finished 2nd in his heat. Only one person has actually raced faster than that. It was the Gavelis who won his heat. Any other of the 4 heats to date, he'd have actually won it. So it is Atangana in 1, Adolphe in 3, Mohammed in 5, Eduardo Uceda in lane 7 in this men's 100 metres T11. So Adolphe is away, and he is well away in lane 3. And Uceda's going well in 7 as well. The European 400 bronze medalist, but it is Adolphe's win, 11.34. Uceda will go through in 2nd place. The other 2 will have to hang on there, Atangana and Hussein Mohammed. But Timothy Adolphe breezed through, and he can now go and enjoy the rest of his Bastille Day however he wishes. 11.33, he's made it through. Uceda has made it through. I'm not sure if the other 2 have managed it. I don't think they have. But it's the top 2 in this who qualify. And that will be that.
Wow, that is great news for this stadium. But my ears actually perked up, Will, when I heard you say that the guide's name was Del Rio, because actually in the 400, the heats and semi-final, Uceda was competing with a different guide, Guitara's Helen, and we've got a note here saying that the guide runner has been replaced. And that's actually interesting because, again, if their guide is injured, that puts the athlete in a really difficult position. And so you have this decision to make, and how often you train with a backup, and how do you coordinate having 2 guides with you. And so he's made quite, well, as you can see, they're running beautifully together, and so clearly it hasn't impacted him. But again, just another nuance of this event.
Yeah, Timothy Adolphe has gone through a few guides in his time, and this morning he has progressed really, really well with Charles Renard, and he is on his way to the final without any doubt at all. And that is good news as well for Chris Kinder of Namibia and Urganshbek Egam Nazarov, who also qualify. And it's Adolphe who wins, 11.33. Eduardo Uceda also through, 11.68, and season best for them all.
Now, just a bit of news to bring you. The women's 200 metres T36, there were due to be semi-finals taking place, the next 2 events on the track. They have been cancelled, and there will be a straight final tomorrow on day 8. Now, I know there are people watching in Australia who are keen fans of this. Justine Wharton, whose daughter Sobella trains with Marley, the Australian.
Well, Kareem, this is a key throw because this is potentially a gold medal winning throw. It's her against Talili, and if she hasn't managed to set a new championship record there, then Talili will be the champion.
I mean, that is huge, and it's so interesting to see the psychology of an athlete who will have seen Talili win so many times, but to come out and throw that so centrally, that was big, and she's smiling and she's waiting.
And Kareem will finish second, 34.79, which means it's a 7th world title and a 13th global crown for the one and only Raua Talili, and she's done it again.
Women's 200 metres T36 will be a straight final, so both semi-finals have been cancelled today. Now, as I was saying, Marley Lovell, the Australian, Abby Creswell, 2 Australians going in that. I know Justine Wharton is keenly looking on. Her daughter Sobella trains under the former 200 metre champion Mel Gainsford Taylor, who also is the coach of Marley Lovell. So look forward to it tomorrow. It's going to happen then. It will get there. We'll play that women's 200 metres T36 final out live when it happens then. But here is Raua Talili back in the discus throw, the world and Paralympic champion.
That second round effort of 37 metres, and it was her only one of the first 3 that was good. The other 2 were wide, and Talili looking to round off in the most positive fashion. That world record mark is hers, and the gold is hers. World champion for a 7th time. She's done the double. She's won the shot and the discus, as well she usually does do. Talili continues to do Talili things. She's the greatest, she's the best. And that overall was the 2nd best throw of the entire competition by anybody. 36.73. That throw in itself would have won it. She's a real hero in Tunisia. Why wouldn't you be if you keep coming up with success like that? Her 7th world title to go with her 6 Paralympic crowns. And remember, it feels like she's been around forever. She's been winning titles since Beijing 08 when she was an 18-year-old. She's 33 now. She's not going anywhere fast. She's looked after number 1 again. Her 13th global title is unlucky for everyone else. Talili the gold for Tunisia. Championship record 37 metres. Kareem the silver for Morocco. And Estefany Lopez gets the bronze for Ecuador. Hayat El Ghara, part of a very terrific clan that regularly medal, 4th for her this time. And Charlotte Bolton didn't improve, by the way, as she stays in 8th place on her global championship debut.
Men's shot put F46 has come to a conclusion, and there is your champion, Kalari of India, with a new Asian record of 16.21. Josh Sinamo, the former world champion from 2019 now, season best for him of 16 dead, but he has to take the silver, and South Africa's Nomdo, 15.30 for him, takes the bronze medal. Season bests and lifetime bests all the way down to Dogan at the bottom. Quite some competition, wonderful throwing. A new champion has been crowned. Kalari, right of screen, Josh Sinamo relinquishes the gold he won in Dubai in 2019. Takes silver. India are having a whale of a time in the field events. High jump, long jump, discus and shot put, along with javelin.
It is India's second gold of the week, their 6th medal overall, and they've been fantastic in the high jump competitions.
Well, they're looking up the schedule because there has been that change with the women's 200 metres 2:36 moving to tomorrow.
Just on that note, one of the reasons why they sometimes get moved is at the moment that we had 9 athletes for the semifinals and only 8 lanes, so we needed to lose one of them, and what might have happened is just that one of them perhaps didn't start, maybe they had an injury in the 100 meters, which is why they've cancelled the semi and gone straight to that final.
What scenes for the Tunisians? Rao Talili, well, she's used to taking gold medals in both the discus and the shot put. She's got a load of them.
And by the way, the point about those upcoming heats in the women's competition, they were the next 2 races that were going to be on track. So the next track race is in around 20 minutes time, which means lots more field for you all. Lily, though, can continue to celebrate. It's almost like default mode for her as we go to the seated javelin. So we're going to see a lot of this now over the next 20 minutes, because I think it's the only event we have in the field right now. So, men's javelin F34, this is coordination impairment. This is a seated event. All the throws come at once. And we have 10 in this. You saw the introductions about an hour ago. And we still have 6 who are yet to go in this.
Just while we're waiting for this here, the fine lines, it shows you, doesn't it? Rao Talili almost threw a couple of times outside that quadrant. Here's Saeed Afrouz of Iran.
He's the world record holder, 40.05. That won in Tokyo at the Paralympic Games 2 years ago. So, he's the Paralympic champion. He's the man they all have to beat. He's the 5th to throw. Judging from the body language, he is content. Good reason. World record, 40 meters, 27.
You can see the reason why he is throwing so far, and actually it was just the speed of his arm as it came through before release. And again, javelin is another throwing event that is so technical. It's not just about being strong. You can go into the gym and find guys who can bench press huge amounts, but it does not mean that they're going to be able to walk in here and be a good javelin thrower.
It's quite a technical event, isn't it? And these chairs, they can only be a certain height. There's a lot of strapping that goes with it. You can see the foot plates just there as well. They've got strappings on them. So you have to make sure that you practice a load, and you have to make sure that those judges are happy with what you do, because they are very, very technical.
You're right. So much thought goes into this. We tend to talk a lot about the racing wheelchairs, and even you can see on his chair, very clever, he's got 2 foot positions at the front and 1 at the side. And the reason for that is that you don't have to sit in a particular orientation on that chair. And perhaps for different reasons, he might want to sit with both feet facing the front. Maybe he'll want to sit on a bit of an angle. Shot putters tend to throw facing forward. We just saw there in the javelin, he was throwing sitting a little bit on the side. And when they're throwing, this chair really does become a part of them. You can see right now they are just locking that chair in. There are a lot of regulations around the chair, as you were saying. For example, the height. All chairs must be no more than 75 centimeters. And if I was a thrower, I would obviously want to go straight up to the 75 centimeter mark, because that would automatically put you at your highest seating position, and the higher your starting point, the farther you would be able to throw. So what the officials are doing right now, you can see these orange strapping systems in their hand. Around a traditional shot put circle, they have what are called tie downs. And so they are making sure that chair is very, very secure. As I said, this chair ends up becoming a part of their body. This is their foundation for that throw, and they want to have the confidence to know that they can move around and put everything into it without, slipping or falling off that chair.
It's a bit like osmosis, isn't it? they move into it, it becomes part of them, and it's almost like they go through the chair because that becomes part of their body. You saw those straps there. The only way I can, I suppose, draw an analogy with those straps is if you had a pallet and you were trying to strap down a pallet with something on it, because they need to get it as tight as possible so that that chair doesn't actually move on the ground. And conditions are lovely today, but it would be so much more difficult if it was on a wet day, because you're slipping and sliding around and you're trying to make sure, as you say, you've got that butt judge who is there, who watches everything, because you're not allowed to lift your butt off the backside, and you've got your legs that have to stay still as well. So it is a lot of work that goes into it, and it must be for the judges who are continually doing it over and over again. It becomes repetition, that they've done it so many times that it becomes second nature in the end.
I have to say, Tolson, I'm loving your analogies. I was waiting to see where you're going to go with osmosis, and that was perfect. But you're right. It's so easy to look at this event and think that it's simple, but the amount of things that are going on, both for the athlete and for the judges, and what the athlete is doing right now is, now that his chair is firmly strapped to the ground, he is firmly strapping himself to that chair. He's a few different systems going on. So even though the height of the seat of the chair has to be 75 centimeters, you are allowed to have other bars like the one that he currently just tucked his knees under, and that again is just to help keep you in position, and you're allowed to grab the chair from anywhere. And going back to the butt judge, as you very correctly pointed out, all throws are considered a foul if the judge feels that the back of your thigh and your butt, and specifically for anyone who is into biology or anatomy, it's the ischial tuberosity that has to stay in contact, because as a seated throwing event, you cannot have any power coming from your legs.
There will be a PDF document being sent out by Steph Reed on her social media account, so you can understand
Do you know something?
If
I'm not working for you for the Paralympics next year, I'm going to watch all this right back and write everything down. It's been an education all week.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, literally every single event.
We've enjoyed it. Neri is now in his warm-up, and he will have his 6 throws. After he's finished that 4-minute warm-up, there's just over 2 minutes remaining on the clock for him at the present time. There is a clock off to the side which gives a time of 4 minutes where it starts from, and then you can see away to the right hand there, it's ticking down 150. So when it gets down, he'll get in as many practice throws as he can in that time, and as soon as it gets down to 0, it is game over, and it is time for his 6 throws, and the judges to watch what he does, and for the athlete to come up with his best 6 throws that he can.
So at the moment, as Tilson said, you are given a total of 4 minutes. Once your chair has been secured to the platform, you have 4 minutes to get into the chair, strap yourself to the chair, and finish the rest of your warm-up. So he started his warm-up by doing a little bit of mobility work with his javelin. He was just loosening up his shoulders, getting his arms ready to go, and that's important because in the javelin event, range of motion of that shoulder is so important. You want to impart as much speed as, even though it's a seating event, and when it's the ambulant version, you'll see the athletes running down the runway. That's because they're trying to get as much velocity on that javelin as possible before they throw it. And he's going to do the same thing by leaning back with his torso.
Well, that's a view from where Noiri is, looking up to that crowd there, who are all watching on in anticipation. And hats to the order of the day, because guess what? The sun has come out. Now, people there may look a little bit cool with jackets on, but the sun is out. It's starting to warm up. Summer is back.
And actually, that's a really great point, because again, this is another power event, and the point I was making in the previous shot put event, for power events, they have found statistically better performances come in the afternoon, and that's just to do with circadian rhythms, and it's as your body warms up throughout the day and hormonal profiles. Anyways, I'll spare you the detail. All that being said, the sun has now come out for him. So actually being warm in a throwing event, and it is much warmer now than at the start of the day when some of the other men were taking their throws, this is a bit of an advantage.
Well, I can confirm that yourself are a little bit warmer and chattier than the start of the day as well. So the circadian rhythm you talk about is certainly kicking into gear, and you're getting better as the day goes on. Just under a minute left of Nairi's.
We made a coffee run before the start, and you're right, it is finally kicking in.
Well, I can confirm as well that Will Downing has about 10 cups of coffee a day, so how he's not bouncing off walls, I do not know.
A session.
But Nairi is away. His first effort was a foul. His second, though, is a mark. It's over around the 25-metre mark. We'll wait for confirmation of it. There it is there, 25.60, so it does take him up into fourth position with 4 throws left. Now, to get bronze, he needs another 10 metres. So the javelin is on there. We draw ourselves away from the javelin and head back towards the long jump pit. And this, the men's long jump T38 coordination impairment category, which are just getting themselves warmed up and ready to go before their introductions to the crowd. That is scheduled to get underway at 10:28, which is in 10 minutes time. The crowd getting right into things now, and they're waking up themselves as well. Everybody is dancing now, I can confirm that. It is Bastille Day. The dancers are enjoying it. There is a gymnast down there as well, I saw earlier, doing backflips.
Not yet.
Nairi did improve with his third attempt to 28.71, but he's still in fourth position. 35.74 is what Zhang of China has as a season best in third position. Now there is one F33 in this men's javelin throw, F34. That is Campocchio of Italy, who is in sixth position at the present time. The remaining 9 all F34 athletes. So away from the javelin throw we go. The long jumpers, T38 coordination impairment category, are ready to be introduced to the crowd. There are 10 set to go in this one. Zhu Dening, the world champion and Paralympic champion, is one of those. Ryan Medrano, we've seen him on the track already, missing out on the 400 metres yesterday in the final, which was another world record. David Katarazzi of Georgia, his lifetime best of 6.12, his season best 5.37 for the Georgian. Zhang of China, silver medalist in Tokyo and also in Rio, and also a silver medalist in London in 2017. Mohamed Chaida of Tunisia will look to replicate what Raul Talili just did a moment or two ago when she won gold. 5.94, his season best. Jose Ramos, he'll have some work to do if he wants to get anywhere up near the medal places. This man knows about medals though. He's already won gold here in the javelin. Took bronze in Tokyo. It is Jose Lemos of Colombia. Australia represented through Cameron Crombie. That lifetime best set earlier this year of 5.35. Here's a name we know about, Mikita Senik of Ukraine, the bronze medalist from Dubai in 2019 and also from London 6 years ago, is eighth to be announced. And Zhu Dening, the reigning world and Paralympic champion, has taken silver over 100 metres at these championships. His world record 7.31. set at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. And Great Britain's Karim Cham, certainly a fantastic lifetime best for him, set this year of 6:44. So the athletes will now get themselves into position. The wind there, as you can see, it's been negligible this week. If anything, slightly a headwind in some of those races. There was a minus 0.3 there when world records were still falling. We've had to not worry at all this week, Steph, about the breeze. It hasn't been a problem. Of course, if it goes over plus 2.0 and there's a world record, then it's negated. The world record or championship record doesn't happen. But we haven't had to worry about those type of things.
Yeah, the wind actually, well, I was chatting with some of the wheelchair racers who were in that evening where we saw just world record after championship record after world record go in the 400. And there are actually some stadiums and some tracks where you'll get an effect where it feels like you have a tailwind for the entire track, or you just get the tailwind in exactly the right spot. And some of it is just to do with the architecture of the stadium, and it ends up working out quite well. But we've definitely seen that the wind here has just been very, very still and very, very kind to the athletes.
Well, I can tell you, I live on the Atlantic, on the west coast of Ireland, and it doesn't matter which direction you go in, if you're riding a bike or riding, the wind is into your face.
I was talking to one of the coaches here earlier who says we've been very lucky this week because a couple of times for Grand Prix the wind has got in here and it's caused lots of headwinds.
What you're seeing right now are the markers. Before the athletes were introduced, they'd already been out on the track for about half an hour setting up their runway. Now the runway is extremely important in this event because accuracy matters. You have to run as fast as you can, full out to the board, and yet somehow find a way to be precise before takeoff.
Well, Ryan Medrano, he was precise with his opening jump. White flag given to him as he gets the men's long jump T38 coordination impairment category underway. And he has a mark immediately. His lifetime best set this year of 5.76 meters.
That was a great opening round jump from Medrano, and that's exactly what you want to do on your first one, hopefully. It just means that you did a great job in your warm-up, you set yourself up on the board, and that gives you a solid foundation for the next 5 jumps.
Well, 5.70 he's given. I can tell you the win there was plus 0.1. So it is negligible, as I said, and hasn't caused any issues at all affecting any records. And it won't in this either, as we head to the track for the first heat of 2 in the men's 100 metres T53 wheelchair category race. All 6 who are scheduled to line up in this will start. Brent Lakatos holds the world and championship record. He won't be going in the 100 metres at these championships. This man will be, though. Yoo Bing-hong of the Republic of Korea. Bronze and silver medalist at the World Championships over 400 and 800. Big cheer for Pierre Fairbank. He's 52 later this month, made his debut back in Sydney 2000. Abdulrahman Al-Qurashi of Saudi Arabia, bronze medalist in Tokyo, silver medalist in Dubai 4 years ago. Abdullah Alenzi of Kuwait didn't get out of the heats in 2019. Brian Seaman of the United States of America, 6th in London 2012 and also in 13 and 17 at the World Championships. Thailand have a great pedigree in the wheelchair racing. Sopa Intersen, who was 4th back in Beijing in 2008. He took silver in Sydney in 2000. Has had quite some lengthy career. 6 to go. The first 3 will automatically qualify for the final, and then we'll find the next 2 fastest after that as they get set to jump. And the men's 100 metres T53 opening round heat, with another one to come afterwards. And getting away all similarly there. In the middle there in the green, you can see Al Qurashi, who's just getting out in front. He really has some hand speed, but it's Brian Seaman who's shooting down the outside. And I think Seaman might have got the win. It doesn't matter. All 3 will go through. Al Qurashi appears to have gone through in 2nd place, and it might well have been Pierre Fairbank who picked up 3rd, but Seaman has been given the victory in a season best time of 15:63. Al Qurashi does go through, 0.01 of a second behind, and it is Pierre Fairbank who goes through 3rd. So 0.05 of a second separating the top 3 there, who automatically go through to the final. The rest we'll have to hang on and see what happens after we've had the 2nd heat, because only 2 fastest losers will go through. But normally in the starts you can see someone who does get away exceptionally quick, but that was a fairly level playing field as they got away, and it was Al Qurashi who then at about the 30-metre mark started to poke his nose in front.
The speed profiles of wheelchair racers are so fascinating to compare to ambulant runners. So what we're seeing here is in the wheelchair racers, they tend to take a little bit longer to get up to speed, but once they get up, they can actually get up to a higher top end speed and maintain it for longer. So they're really only just coming into that top speed form at around about 100 meters. They're really accelerating the whole way. Whereas compared to an ambulant runner, they tend to, or try not to decelerate. But the thing is, because they're still accelerating, so much can change in those last 5 meters. You cannot let off. And Brian Seaman, as you can see there, he just snuck through because he stuck to his gun, and he knew if he has a higher top end speed, he will make up that distance very quickly.
Yeah, sometimes it's more difficult to slow down than it is to actually speed up when they're at that top level. And Brian Seaman, a happy camper, because he has set a season best time in taking the win in the opening heat. The men's 100 metres T53, Al Qurashi and Fairbank also through.
So now Cheetah, who missed out last night on the track. They've had a couple of misses. Medrano leading 5:70. Kavtaradze and Zhong have both been denied. So Cheetah looking to get up, gets beyond 5 meters certainly.
What you'll notice there is, unlike the field events that we just saw, the officials would run over and they would put the measuring tip in the sand and do it electronically. Now in long jump, there hasn't been an official that's gone over to measure. They're just raking it, and that's because they use a different system where there are actually cameras set up along the stadium. I've been trying to spot them and haven't quite spotted them yet, but they measure them automatically, and that is the reason why those officials take such care to level out that pit and make sure it's smooth so that the camera can read the mark accurately.
It's been done by lasers. It was brought in for London 2012 and generally worked perfectly, apart from it was the Olympic hammer final where 2 marks finished in the same place. Cheetah has finished somewhere unique, ahead of everyone else, 5:79, and he is our leader. Remember, 400 world record holder. Quick look at Ramos, who's among the favourites too. But that might, probably will not be enough. It'll get him into the top 3 right now. It is a fair effort. Just feels a bit down on Cheetah and Medrano.
For me, that run-up just felt a little bit tense. You could see he was just reaching for the board a little bit. His shoulders are still quite forward, and you can't get a lot of height and lift that way. He was also a little bit behind the board, so whatever that mark was, you can probably add about 20 centimeters onto that.
Well, now, his lifetime best is 4:86, which was set this year. So he'll be aiming to go beyond 5 meters. There was 4:73, and he gave around 20 centimeters away there. So he definitely can go longer than that. Track action continuing with the men's 100 meters, the T53. So these are the second fastest of the wheelchair races. It's just a ride. Someone was telling me we're on CBC Gem as well. Somebody who watches me on another sport over there regularly says he was flicking through the channels and found us on TV there as well, which is always a good thing. Arman Sargsyan with his championship debut. He's only going in the 100 here. He's in lane 2 of this 100 T53. Pishek Krunjet, the triple Paralympic champion from Athens 04. He's in 3, the reigning Asian champion. Next up, Nicola Brignon. World bronze, European bronze in the 1 and 4 in 2014 from New Caledonia. He goes in 4. In lane 5 for Brazil. Bronze in the 100 in Lyon 10 years ago, Arcevaldo Fernandez for Brazil. The back-to-back 400 meters world champion, the reigning Paralympic champion over 100 meters, the Asian champion, the Southeast Asian champion, Pongsakorn Payo of Thailand. He goes in lane 6. In lane 7 on his championship debut, Yoon Kyung Chan of Korea. He's in lane 7. And in lane 8 for Ghana, looking to get out of the heats for the first time in what's his 3rd World Championships, it's McLean Dzienyo. Goes for Ghana. So it's Sargsyan in 2, Krunjet in 3, Brignon in 4, Fernandez 5, Payo 6, Yoon 7, and Dzienyo of Ghana in lane 8. And it is the top 3 and the next through to go through to the final. Plenty of support in 4 for Brignon. Fernandez has got off brilliantly for Brazil in 5. Krunjet in 3. Payo's the Paralympic champion in 6. They'll go through Fernandez, Payo, Krunjet. And in that order too, 14.81. That's close to a season's best actually for Fernandez. I think it is a season's best. Got his lifetime best of 12.34. Payo didn't need to worry about winning that. Don't think he's worrying too much about the lane draw. He's beaten all comers in this. The Paralympic champion 2 years ago in the 100, the 400, the 800. Fernandez finished 8th in the 400 final. He has, in the last 3 Paralympic Games, finished 4th in this 100 meters, so he's got a bit to aim for as the Brazilian.
That was a fantastic race from Fernandez. You could just see the smoothness in his pushing at the start, and I love it here. He can feel the tide coming on his inside, and you can actually see the additional power and purchase he was getting into those push rims. The athletes have push rims attached to their wheel, and that's what they push on. And in case you were ever wondering, like I once did, whether or not awesome beards affect aerodynamics of wheelchair racing, they actually don't, just because the position that the head is in as they're pushing, it tends to be quite tucked. Just a little fun fact if you were wondering.
Well, nothing has affected the slipstream of Arcevaldo Fernandez here. He wins it quite capably in 14.80. I still think Gar Spickler in the T53 probably has got the gold medal beard of these games. Fernandez has the win. Payo, Krunjet and Yoon are all through. Yeah, they are one of the top wheelchair racing nations around. They always draw a good bit of support, as they should. So we're going deep into this men's long jump. Cheetah, 579, who we saw take the lead you will note, has in the past few moments lost the lead to Jose Lemos of Colombia. Very good effort of 6 meters 17.
Well, here goes the reigning world and Paralympic champion. Lemos is in the lead, who won the gold medal here already at these championships, and Zhu's world record that he set in Tokyo winning those Paralympics, 7.31 meters. Here he goes with jump number 1. Well, it's certainly not 7.31 meters, but he does have a mark to start with.
You can see why he is a 7-meter jumper. He has it in him. It was just a really great, smooth run and smooth into the air. And this is a men's T38 category. T38 means a coordination or balance impairment mild in one or more of the limbs. And it's quite a complex movement to change from running in a straight line to then jumping. You can see he did lose a little bit of distance on that board, so we can again add about 20 centimeters. But again, so having that complex movement where you change from running to jumping, it's just an added thing that these athletes have to work on. And we don't talk about classification as a distraction from the sport and the athleticism, but we keep bringing it up because we want you to be able to fully appreciate the talent that is on display.
Well, 5.79 for Zhu. He's in joint second position with Cheetah, who jumped exactly the same mark. So he'll be back to the board in a moment. But here is Karim Chan of Great Britain. His first up jump, lifetime best of 6.44 set this year. Well, you heard the slap off the board. So that normally is a good sign. The noise we heard from up here, he slaps into the board and he takes off in it. So 6.44, that lifetime best. He'll be certainly hoping to go somewhere near that. If he wants to jump that here, he would go straight into the lead. Lemos 6.17, the current leader. But that there, Steph Reed, you know a thing or two about long jump, having won gold medals in it, and that was a decent enough jump.
That was interesting, what your take on the sounds, because I find it much easier just to close my eyes and listen to the sound than to actually watch the jump. And when you're on the runway, you don't want to have these huge slapping sounds because you want to be reacting off of it. But you're right, that foot placement on the board, you can see he hit it smack on, and that is the sound of power being transformed from speed to horizontal distance.
Well, Chan has moved immediately into second position, has the British athlete. 6.13 for him, places him 4 centimeters behind Lemos of Colombia, who's in the lead. That after jump 1. All the athletes now have gone through, and we'll head back to the second jump. It is Ryan Medrano who is at the runway and ready to go for jump number 2 for him. As we pan around, there he is, 5.70 for his opener. Finished out of the places in the 400 final. That there is a foul though, so he's overstepped the mark. The board will now be taken out and a new board will be placed in as the plasticine is getting fixed. New one to restore that. That shows you there quite a distance over, really.
So the foot cannot touch any part of that red board, and the reason for the plasticine is just to give them an additional visual evidence of whether or not that foot went over. But you're right, they do have a bunch of boards. That's the board right there. What they'll do is they'll have about 3 or 4 of those boards with plasticine on them ready to go, because it's actually quite a process. It's almost, I guess, like adult Play-Doh you play with, and there's actually even a roller because you want to smooth it out. And so just to keep things going and not have athletes wait, they have a few of them on hand.
You've sold me already when you mentioned the roller. That's enough for me. There's something I like about doing things like that are rolling things out and keeping them flat.
So does this mean that you're into making pasta? That could be your new thing.
No. My daughter bakes a lot, see, so she rolls things out and makes dough. So that is part of the reason for it.
And in World Athletics, they've started to drift away from the plasticine, and they have a laser now. And I know Ivana Spanovic I think it was Istanbul in the European Indoors this year, was quite upset because she'd been given a foul which she thought in the old days wouldn't have been. We'll just take a look at Kavatadzi's second attempt for Georgia. which from here looks like a foul, and that's because it was. What would your stance be on that? Would you prefer the plasticine way, where you can see the visual evidence, or the laser, where, you know, sometimes computer says no, wrongly?
Okay, well, there's something quite satisfying about being able to see the mark for yourself in the sand. But I've asked several judges about this. What they use, it's actually a camera. It's not a laser in terms of breaking a plane. And so, and they store these images on computers, and there is a period of appeal, and everything gets measured, even if it doesn't show up. And that's just so that we can always go back and check out the evidence.
Well, men's 100 meters T36 is ready to go on the track. Championship and world record held by James Turner of Australia, who will go in heat number 2. 3 fastest again will go through to the final, and the next 2 fastest will advance as the fastest losers. Deng Pai Cheng who took gold in 2020. He's the reigning Paralympic champion. Gold in the long jump for that man, Turganov of Uzbekistan. He now goes in the 100. Sikuk of Morocco, 25 years of age, at his first major championships. 12.82, his lifetime best. Chavez of Argentina, bronze in 2020 in this event. Bronze in the 400 meters already here. He's a gold medalist in the Pan American Games, and Marion Petria, who was 7th here in the 400 meters. So we have medalists already at these championships going in this one, and we have Deng Pai Cheng in lane 1, who is the reigning Paralympic champion. So Deng in 1, Turganov in 4, Sikuk in 5, Chavez in 6, and Petria will go in lane 7. And away they go, and getting away very fast is Chavez of Argentina. He is absolutely flying as Chavez down the outside. He is motoring towards the line. Turganov on the inside, 12.02 the time there from the young Argentine. Well, he won bronze in this in 2020. He looked really quick then. Got away to an explosive start. And it was Turganov who just couldn't get anywhere near him. He set a lifetime best himself. He was 0.40 behind, equals the season best of Chavez. And Deng does go across in 3rd place, the Paralympic champion. Didn't look at his prime though, 12.94 for him. So lots to work on for Deng, but that start there from Chavez was unbelievable.
I think Chavez there took the field a little bit by surprise. I mean, he was gone and away and had a 2 to 3 meter lead by about 20 meters in, and nobody was able to chase him down. And that was just a great example of, well, you have 3 different phases in the long jump. You have your acceleration phase, which is out of the blocks. You have your transition phase, which is where you get to your upright running, and then you have the glide phase as you finish it off coming in. And he just did each of those excellently.
Well, he's equals his season's best there of 12.04. Turganov a lifetime best in 2nd, and Deng has gone through in 3rd position. The others will have to wait as we head back to the men's long jump. T38.
Yep. Jose Ramos, as we go deep into this 2nd round. We've had a couple of misses in this. Raimo Drano's 2nd round effort, you saw, was a foul. Ramos in 8th spot for Puerto Rico. Now, we saw his 1st round attempt, 4.53, gave away a bit of distance on the board. He might have done that again here. He's not that far away from his lifetime best, actually, which is 4.86. So basically trying to barge through 5 meters. At the moment, he's in 8th place, and that's because Kavatate and Cameron Crombie of Australia haven't registered a mark yet. And that's 4.30.
You can just see there that the wind has actually picked up. He was given a negative 2.0. He was given a headwind.
Well, here goes Zhong of China. That his second jump, his first was a foul. So he took no mark on his opener. Overstepped the mark. That one there, though, certainly looks fine and certainly looks like a decent distance. Zhong Wanhao, silver medalist in the last two Paralympic Games and in London 2017, a season best 6.70 puts him into the lead by quite some distance, 53 centimetres as a matter of fact.
It is Bastille Day, which means there's a flyover coming. Wonder if the president's on that. I have a feeling he probably is. And there's his accompaniment. Hope he's coming here. He'd be entertained.
French Air Force out in force on Bastille Day. Heading just to the north of the stadium. Around towards the northeast. Charles Stadium here, we're in the south of France and south of Paris even. Time for Cameron Crombie. His first was a foul. Lack of sleep will do that to you. Talk about the country instead of the city. 5:35. Cameron Crombie's lifetime best set this year. As the coaching staff and support look on for Crombie. That's around the 5 metre mark. Now, if he did succeed in his lifetime best, it would move him up into 8th position.
You can see on this jump, he had a foul with his previous jump, and when you have a foul, sometimes you'll have a conversation with your coach, and you'll talk about adjusting the runway, moving it back, and clearly he's moved it back just to give himself a bit of buffer, because the last thing that you want to do is enter into the third round of a final knowing that you have to have a clutch jump and that you have to get a jump in, because after the third round, well, you can see that's a huge amount of distance there, probably about 35 centimeters that he's given up. But the problem is, if he doesn't register a mark on this one, he's in danger of automatically not making those final 3 jumps.
Yeah, you're right there. That's the key, isn't it? 460, 80 even is the mark for Cameron Crombie as we head back to the track and the second heat and the men's 100 metres T36 that will see the world record and championship record James Turner head in lane 5.
It's a fantastic field, I have to say, out of the 5. Here's the championship David 203 for Algeria, Mokhtar Tadane, who finished 6th in the long jump. Now, lane 4 for Brazil, Pan Am bronze medalist in the 100. His best successes, a couple of silvers, Paralympic and Worlds, have come in the long jump. Now, in lane 5 for Australia, the reigning world champion, the world record holder, and a man who has retained his 400-metre world title this week, James Turner. In lane 6 for Malaysia, the 2016 Paralympic champion, the 2015 world champion, Mohamed Rizwan. Mohamed Puzi for Malaysia. And in lane 7 for Ukraine, the 4-time Paralympic, 3-time world champion, Roman Pavlik. Again, it's the top 3 plus the next 2 who will progress in this. Turner in lane 5, the fastest in the world this year, with a time only 800ths outside of his world record, to claim this crown in Dubai 4 years ago. in the Stadium for Athletes of Determination. Didan 3, Pereira 4, Turner 5, Mohamed Ridwan Pouzy 6, and Pavlik in 7. Well, Turner is away well, and Mohamed Pouzy is away well. Didan's got off to a flyer here. Turner coming back for Australia, the top 3 to make it. It's going to be James Turner to take it. Didan, and then Mohamed Pouzy. Pereira just run out in 4th, but I think he should be okay. Well, Didan just blasted out there. Must be a lifetime best for him. Turner takes it in 12.18, but that was not a procession for him, mainly due to Mokhtar Didan.
Well, he certainly did well. I think what we're seeing right now is his speed endurance perhaps showing through, and his ability to just maintain that top speed and not panic. We know he's an excellent 400-meter runner, and smooth face, no tension. That's exactly what you want to see in order to keep that speed at the end. But when you come into a 100-meter race and you know that perhaps the start isn't your strong point, you have to be confident enough in your ending speed, and I think we're seeing that for sure from Turner.
Well, Turner takes that. Just take a look at the wind speed, minus 3.4. Turner takes a 12.18. Didan, an African record 12.33. Mohamed Ridwan, Pereira, Pavlik, they all go through. And the wind, for the first time this week, has severely picked up. Minus 3.4.
We've actually been seeing the wind readings in the long jump continue to increase, and we haven't seen this yet in this competition, and that can be really challenging to deal with, because you've already set up your runway for what you thought was going to be quite a gentle breeze, and now you're going to have to make these decisions about, well, do I adjust it? Do I account for the fact that there is wind that's going to potentially be slowing me down? We'll have to see what happens in the next few rounds, but that can be a little bit stressful.
So that was quite a headwind.
Well, considering the headwind and James Turner's time, I take that back. That was incredibly quick.
Well, consider Didan as well. That was an African record into a headwind of 3.4, which is really severe. If you've got an assisting breeze behind you of +2, that nullifies the records. They're over +2 as we go to Zhu in the long jump T36. He's in 6th right now.
Zhu with his second jump, and that is out much further than his first. 5.79 for that opener in 6th position. He only needs a centimetre or so to move up a place. I suspect he's moved up a bit further as the world and Paralympic champion. Well, 6.29. The mark for Zhu Denying. So currently it's China 1 and 3.
Just another note on those wind readings. So, as Will said, if the wind is above +0.2, then it doesn't count as a record. However, within the actual long jump competition itself, if an athlete had a +3 wind, even though it wouldn't count as a world record, that mark still stands in the competition, even if another jumper has the misfortune of getting a lot of headwinds.
Well, that was -0.3 for Zhu's second. His opener was -2.4. So quite some difference indeed. What, 2.1?
It is quite different, and you'll see that the long jumpers have a minute before they take their jump, and sometimes you'll see them standing around just waiting for that perfect wind, and Kareem Chan just did an excellent job of that.
Well, that was brilliant. You heard the knock off the board again from Kareem Chan. It's a white flag. It's a decent jump. 6.44 is his lifetime best. Now, if he was to jump 6.44, he'd be up into 2nd position and a silver medal.
Now, what's interesting is after his first jump, he went over to have a chat with his coach, who told him to get a better knee drive off the board, and that is exactly what he just did, and clearly he's having no troubles with that runway or with the wind. Well,
his knee drive was into a -1.1 wind. 6.36 though, it puts Chan up into 3rd position. He usurps Zhu Denying, the Paralympic and world record champion. So Ryan Medrano Didn't place in the 400 metres yesterday. Another one of those remarkable world record events that we saw yesterday. 10 world records, 2 of them set by Ezra Freck when he broke the long-standing record of Sam Grew. Medrano saw it all unfold from the track. The windsock moving slightly now. There you can see it in the foreground. It's into the face of Medrano. He goes though. Jump number 3. So 570 with his opener. He's inside the top 8. He fouled with his second. His lifetime best is 576. That's his season best as well. And that's out there near that mark.
So Medrano is what I would call a speed jumper. He certainly relies quite a bit on his speed to get across as opposed to getting the height.
Well, 569 is the mark, so he's only 1 centimetre shy of his mark he set in the opening round. So there's consistency. His supporters are enjoying it. USA, as always, doing very well at these World Paralympic Championships. Bit of advice, a few laughs.
Well, the coach has 2 jobs here. What you're trying to do is, one, offer a few cues, but also you want to make sure that your athlete is in the right mind frame. And every athlete has their own thing. We can see Medrano clearly likes to have fun and have a good time. That's what really gets him pumped up. But it's quite a complex and nuanced job for the coach to really get the mindset of the athlete correct.
Yeah, the psychology plays a big part. As we move back to the board, and Captarazzi, who's had 2 fouls. So for him, it's all about getting a mark. You saw him put his hands up there. He was looking and wondering if he'd made it. He got the white flag. He didn't foul. The pressure was on for Captarazzi. 6:12 is his lifetime best. He needs to get a mark.
Now that jump for me looked quite, perhaps conservative is the right word, but as you say, what he had to do is make sure he didn't foul. He has to register a mark higher than 557 to get into that top 8 final.
557 is what he has, a season best for Captarazzi, and he sneaks in to the top 8 as it stands.
He can be edged out though. Crombie and Ramos still have a 3rd attempt to go.
We'll work our way around now from the long jump. Moving up from the 100 to the 400 metres on the track. The men's T37 category, over 400 metres. Andre Verdovin of the RPC, who aren't here at these championships. He holds that world and Paralympic record. Well, the wind has certainly picked up. I've just managed to catch my umbrella as it's moved to the side. Taprom will go in lane 1 of Thailand. Didn't get out of the heats in 2019. Safayan Hamdi, who was a bronze medalist in Tokyo. He's won silver at 3 World Paralympics Championships. Will go in lane 2. Bartolomeu da Silva, first major championships for the 22-year-old. We've already seen him on the track here at these championships. The former European champion from 2018, silver medalist in Bydgoszcz in 2021, Mikhail Kolkovsky, will go from lane 4. Yaroslav Okapinski of Ukraine. 2 Ukrainians going in this one. Okapinski the first, who was 4th in his 200 metres at these championships. African interest through Namibia's Petrus Karuli. Raced in the 1500 metres 4 years ago. Second of the Ukrainians, Mikola Raisky. 7th here over 200 metres. He will now go in the 400. And the Ecuadorian, Plata Aguas, didn't get out of the heats in the 200. His first major championship. 25 years of age. So there are the season bests for our athletes taking part in this one. 53.35. Kotkowski has the best of those. The pole. Coordination impairment category. Second least of the impairments. Tapron, Hamdi, De Silva, Kotkowski, Okapinski, Karuli, Reski and Agus. In the final of the men's 400 metres, T37. And the sun beats down on this track as the athletes get away to a fine start and already moving up well. It's Karuli of Namibia flying down there, but inside of him, Okapinski making up very strong ground, and Kotkowski, as always, looking strong down that back straight in the white vest and red shorts of Poland. But out in front of him at the moment, it is Okapinski of Ukraine, who is flying around the outside along with Mikhail Reski as well. Moving up on the inside, it's Hamdi of Algeria. They fly down into the straight. There's three side by side. Kotkowski in the middle of them. Okapinski on the outside. And inside him, De Silva of Brazil. It's going to be Okapinski who's going to take it in a time of 52.24. Kotkowski in second position takes the silver medal. And De Silva of Brazil inside in lane 3. At his first major championship will take a bronze medal. 52.24 the time there. Rounded down to 52.23 for Okapinski. He was fourth in the 200 metres. He's claimed gold in the 400. Well, what a run from Okapinski. He got away quick. He went away fast. The Namibian Karuli also after that first 100 metres, but he just slackened off somewhat, and from there it was a race in 3 as they went to the 200 metre mark.
It was great to see that it was quite an even race until we got to that backstretch, and that's where we really saw the shifts starting. And just to chat a bit again about the classification, we were watching a T38 long jump. This is a men's T37 400 meters, and that is also a balance and coordination impairment, but in this case it affects one side of the body. So again, the bends on a 400 meter really come into it, because depending on which side is affected, that will affect how you handle that bend, because as you power around it, you're using one side of your body. And here I was so impressed with Okapinski. I thought perhaps he had overcooked it. He was looking around, which to me is normally a sign that you're getting a little bit stressed out, and then he just pulls away. He clearly had something left in reserve, and that was an excellent pacing on how to run and win a 400 meter final.
Well, Okapinski shows that if you stick at it long enough, you will get something. He took a silver in 2018 in the European Championships, a bronze in Bydgoszcz in 2021. He was fourth in the 200 meters here, but he now has, to the delight of his fellow athletes of the Ukraine, he has a gold medal. Yaroslav Okapinski is the gold medalist in the men's 400 meters T37. Lifetime best as well, 52.23. Season bests for Kotkowski, who took the silver in second place, and the silver of Brazil, 22 years of age, first major championship, takes a bronze medal with a season best.
Well, the sun is well out now, glaring in comparison to what we had for the first couple of hours here. New note grew, watching on from the crowd, because obviously a lot of the athletes will want to come and view as well. Nikita Senik will be the next to go for Ukraine. the regular championship medalist for them. He's currently lying in 6th spot, 580. And he has a season's best. 650 or thereabouts is his PB, which actually would put him up into 2nd place. Mikita Senik. They have a magnificent talent spotting program around the country. They generally have one of the largest teams here. The twice Paralympic silver medalist, going back to 2008 in Beijing, bronze in the 1 and the 2. He has been a regular European champion on the double in those distances, and he did win bronze in the long jump at the London World Championship 6 years ago. So something near his lifetime best would come close to emulating that. We're not even halfway through this competition yet, still a long way to go in it.
He didn't look that thrilled coming out of the pit, and I think perhaps the reason for that is he built up such wonderful speed on the runway, and then about 3 to 4 strides out, he was just slowing down. That's usually a sign that you're sighting the board, which you have to do to an extent, but you want to be in a position where you can fully accelerate into the board. It's not helpful to get on the board if you're not at top speed. You never want to sacrifice speed if you can help it.
And Senik doesn't quite improve, 576, but he is very close to his top mark. Next final, the men's 1500 meters, T54. The top man is in this. Can anybody turn over Marcel Hug? On the inside, the now 10-time world champion, 6-time Paralympic champion. He is the reigning European and Paralympic champion in this, Marcel Hug. Outside him, the Asian Games silver medalist, bronze medalist, Paralympic bronze, Puharet Kongrak. Outside him, semi-finalist in the 5,000 metres here, 6th in the 1,500 of the last Europeans in Budgosz for Austria, Ludwig Malte. Outside him, the reigning Asian Games and world champion 4 years ago, the former Paralympic champion, Prawat Waharam of Thailand. Outside him for Canada, silver in the 400 metres here, the 11-time world champion, Brent Lakatos. Outside him for Thailand, the Paralympic world silver and bronze medalist, Saichung Konjen. Outside him for Great Britain, the reigning Commonwealth Games champion from Birmingham last year, Nathan Maguire. Outside him for France, on Bastille Day, the European silver medalist, the 3-time world bronze medalist, Julien Casseley. Outside him for Australia in his 1st World Championship, based in Buninyong, 10th in the 5,000 final, Sam Rizzo. And outside him, on the ultimate outside, this week's 5,000 metres bronze medalist, 4th in the 400 metres final, it's Dan Sidbury. This is a fantastic field. 11 world titles for Lakatos, 10 for Hug. Lakatos, mainly a T53, goes in the 54s and the longer distances. Marcel Hug, the 29 times major champion. Lakatos for Canada, Casseley for France, Maguire, Sidbury for Great Britain. The T54s, always a great watch, always a brilliant race. How does Marcel Hug approach this? From the front, he's the leader straight away. Casseley, Sidbury, Lakatos watching quite closely. Dan Sidbury in a good position right now. Congren taking up a decent spot right now. Coming up for the first of 4 visits to the back lane, and it's Marcel Hug is leading the way. Castley in second place, Sidbury in a good position in third, Lakatos in fourth, and Congret is in fifth.
Now, Marcel had the advantage of starting in lane 1, which automatically gave him a degree of control in this race because you have the inside lane, everybody else has to filter over, and we can see that everybody has lined up beside him. Now, I've seen him run this 1,500 meters this way several times. Marcel's at the front, which means that he feels confident enough to let everyone else behind him draft, save that energy, and he thinks even then he can still beat them. So what he's doing right now is he's at the front, he's setting the pace. He has picked a pace that is comfortable for him. And so if anyone, I mean, look, this whole season we know how this race is going to end. Marcel's going to win it. So if somebody wants to mix things up, they're going to have to force him to use a different tactic.
2 laps to go. Hug leading. Remember, he did not win a single gold medal at the last World Championships in Dubai. He's already picked up the 5,000 here. Castley in second place on the day that's in it. Sidbury third. Lakatos in fourth. Congret fifth. Maguire sixth. Waharam seventh. Congen eighth. But they are looking where they want to be. 600 to go. It's still tight. Movement coming now from Waharam.
Now what Waharam is doing right now, and this is dangerous for the men that are on the inside, he's in a position where he can come up and he can box and block anyone in that he wants. Now Brent realizes this. He's actually pushing him out there. He's spotted the danger. Now Waharam has to go 3 wide, and Brent is in the position just coming up to the bell. That is a great place to be.
And it is Hug who leads as they take the bell. Lakatos has moved up well on the outside. Waharam as well has moved from 7th to 3rd very quickly. Castley has dropped down the 4th spot. It's Lakatos who is jousting with Hug, but it is Hug who is leading with 300 to go. Hug ahead of Lakatos. Between them, they've got 21 world titles. There's surely a 22nd coming but for who? And look at Thailand. 3, 4, 5. Waharam, Congret, Congen. It's Hug leading them out ahead of Brent Lakatos. Waharam, Thailand are going to win a medal potentially. Is Hug on the way to a gold? He will be. It's an 11th title for Hug. His second of the week. Hug, Lakatos. That's the 1-2. Waharam was moving up as well. Thailand 3, 4, 5. Marcel Hug does it again. He is an 11-time T54 world champion, and I make that Marcel Hug's 30th all-time major championship goal. Waharam moved up well, dangerously. It was a bronze for him, and the silver medal goes to Brent Lakatos, and for him that is a 17th all-time medal. Gosh, his entire family will be happy for him. Wonder how his wife feels. Steph?
Well, I mean, look, that was an amazing race from Brent for several reasons, but I will start with Marcel. Marcel is so strong at this point that, again, as I said, he's comfortable. He had the inside lane. That's part of the lane draw. That's part of it, and he was able to really control this race from the start and run the race that he wants to be. However, Brent was trying to mix things up, and clearly Brent wanted to see if he had a top speed that could match Marcel, because Marcel had the position. He was always going to have to come wide, but this was great to see that Marcel was pushed, and people are no longer willing just to sit back and let Marcel dictate. Brent, what I love about this is sometimes racers will simply accept that they're going to fight for second, and other times they would rather go for the gold and risk blowing up than settle for a minor medal, and that is really great to see.
It is a new championship record, and remarkably, I think most of the field were inside it. Who could set it in Lyon 10 years ago when he won those 5 goals? A big battle for second spot, which Lakatos takes ahead of Waharam, with Congrat in 4th spot and Congen in 5th. But Marcel Hug, well, remember, he's won the last 6 Paralympic titles in a row. Prior to that, he hadn't won one in his entire career. He didn't win a gold medal in Dubai. He's 2 out of 2 here. He's also going in the 800. And he is and continues to be the man. The top 8 have all been inside the old championship record of 2:59. Marcel Hoog takes his 11th World Championship gold. Brent Lakados the silver. Waharam gets the bronze. Sam Rizzo gets a new Oceania record. And but for Ludwig Malter, who didn't finish, the 9 who did were at least 4 seconds inside Marcel Hoog's championship record. Marcel Hoog's championship gold. We've gotten used to this. Well, in terms, certainly of the modern era, he is the greatest. 2:51.32, the new championship record is world record set in Dubai, the Grand Prix there, the Fazer Grand Prix in February. 2:43. Joy for Marcel Hoog and for Brent Lakados of Canada. 11 all-time gold, the most of those in T53. In the longer distances, the 53s can joust against the 54s. That is his 4th World Championship silver, along with 2 bronze. They're 2 very successful guys.
Cheetah in the men's long jump T38 final. This is 4th attempt. He's currently in 5th position. 586 with his 2nd jump. The best thus far for the Tunisian as he gets set to go. He has a lifetime best of 650. The wind has just slightly gone down. It's still there. You can see it just racing up every now and then, and away he goes. Might have lost a little bit of distance on the board there. And 586, he was consistent with his 3rd attempt, 585. And this one looks pretty consistent with that as well.
I think, again, we saw he's building up so much wonderful speed on the runway, and just as he's coming into the board, sometimes it's an issue of just sighting the board and making sure you're accurate. Sometimes it's just too much preparation for the jump, and the real skill in long jump is to be able to charge at that board, full tilt, hit your top speed, and take off with control at full speed, really directing all those force vectors. And it is a really, really complex physical movement.
Well, that is consistency. 587 in that one, so he does improve. So he's gone 579, 586, 585, 587. 8 centimetres between all 4 jumps for Cheetah. That's Karim Chan, who's in 4th position with a best of 636 with his 2nd. Looks to move higher up into the middle places.
We have a real tussle going on right now for that bronze medal position. Right now we're in the 4th round, and there is just 3 centimeters separating them out. So as a long jumper in 4th place, it's funny, everybody always says 4th place is the worst place to finish in, but we'll get on that because we're nowhere near the finish just yet. So what Karim wants to do is to solidify himself first into that bronze medal position and then build on that. And again, it's been the same note from his coach. It's about that driving leg and getting that lift, and visually, as you can see, he really held his left knee up there. There we go. And he's really driving. And that's part of the mechanics of transforming that speed into horizontal distance. The great news for Karim is that he has had a really solid runway. He's been consistent on the board, and that is the sign of a jumper that has faith in his running and in his runway.
Well, 636 is still his best at 607 for jump number 4, so he still needs to find 3 or 4 centimetres to take him up into the middle places. As Lemos, who is above Chan, goes with his 4th jump. Well, Lemos has already picked up a gold in the javelin here at these championships. I'm sure he'd love to medal in the long jump as well. He won bronze in this in Tokyo 2020. He sits in that bronze medal position at the moment, 617, 639, 631, and that one looks around the same mark as well.
Now in Lemos's position, we're only in the 4th round, and he is only holding on to that bronze medal by a few centimeters, so he'll know he's not safe. He'll know that he wants to keep jumping far, keep just eking out those extra centimeters to give himself a little bit more of a buffer.
Well, it was a good position on the board. and he equals his previous jump of 6:31, so he stays in third position. Well, our two finals on the track have been completed for the morning, but we do have heats to come. This time in the women's 100 metres T54. Tatiana McFadden, the world record holder, and Amanda Kataya, the championship record. Kataya, second from the right of screen there, will go in lane 4 in this. The current world champion, Marie Desrella Perrine, who was 7th in 2017 in London. Next to Amanda Kataya, who took silver in 2020, but won gold in 2019. Hannah Dedrick, world junior champion in 17 and 19, came 4th in this event in the Paralympics. Shauna Burke, first major championships. She made it through to the 1500 metre final from Crockwell in County Galway, doing them proud. Nandini Sharma of Canada, also her first major championships for the 25-year-old. So the first two will go through automatically. The next two fastest across the 3 heats will also go through to the final. Perrine in 3, Kataya in 4, Dedrick in 5, Bouquet in 6, Sharma in 7. And they get away quickest of all through Amanda Kataya, who is roaring into the front. There's at least 3 or 4 metres between her, and on the outside is Hannah Dedrick in second position. Across on the inside from Mauritius, Perrine looks like she's going to take third place. It is in that order: Kataya, Dedrick and Perrine who go through as the first 3, but it is Dedrick who goes through in second place, who just holds out Perrine, who will have to go through possibly as one of the fastest qualifiers. So Perrine in third place. Dedrick, look at that, 0.02 of a second. She's held her out by going through automatically. Kataya, the reigning world champion, 16:69 with her race. Bouquet in 4th in 17:92. And Sharma coming in 5th. But Kataya got away very quickly indeed as we head back to Zhu at the long jump.
So Zhu currently lying in the silver medal position, 6:53. Didn't use the board very much, so he doesn't need to worry about a red flag. Might have lost a couple of centimetres in that way. It's China 1 and 2 right now in this 4th round. Zhong leading the way in 6:70. Zhu coming next with that 6:53 in the 3rd round. Right now, Jose Lemos, who's also this week's World Javelin Champion. There's a combination for you. 6:39 has him in 2nd place. And that might well be the best of the day for Zhu, who is, on his day, a +7 metre man. And that is, what, 35 centimetres at least?
That is a huge amount to lose on the board, but what I love about the way that he runs is he picks up so much speed on the runway. And look, if I had to choose between speed and hitting the board, I pick speed every time.
Well, Steph, that's 6:55, but if he's hit the board, that would have put him into the gold medal position, surely.
And that is the kind of knowledge that we let athletes know that then causes them to lose sleep at night.
His coach will have given him that knowledge probably 10 seconds ago. So he's got a winning jump in him, that we know. Zhong goes now. Silver in the last 2 Paralympic Games. Behind Zhu. Silver in the Asian Games. Last time out behind Zhu. This could be Zhong's day. He hopes it is. It definitely is China's. That's a red flag. Has to be. It is. He was very keen. And frankly, that 6:70 he's got is the only mark he's got so far. That's 3 fouls out of 4. It came in round 2 his mark of 6:70, so at least he didn't have to wait until the 3rd round. And that would cause a lot of athletes to panic.
Well, the thing is, in long jump, you only need one big jump. However, when it does get interesting is if, for example, Zhu happened to also jump 670, he would then technically be leading because they then look at the backup jump. So he still is, I mean, we've seen what Zhu can do. If he puts it together in the next round, he could be in a spot of danger. So he definitely wants to get in another big backup jump. But again, these are the margins you're dealing with when you're a long jumper. You have to be able to get incredible speed and be precise, and it's a really, really fine margin. Right now you can see, well actually in this case it looks like they're using a pallet as opposed to a roller. But this is them just, again, preparing the board because they need to make sure that the indent is from the athlete who just went.
Looks like me in my house in the winter, fixing a few things in the wall. Well, that's a board that will be taken away, fixed, and brought back for another jumper. This is the women's 100 metres T54. This is the opening heat with Amanda Kataya there, winning in lane 4. And you'll see the distance between second and third, and Dedrick, top 2 go through, and just look how close it is between second and third. Perrine just missing out on the inside, the Mauritian on the right screen there, who finished in 3rd place, but Amanda Kataya, arm power extreme.
Her ability to get away quickly from the line is impressive. You can tell she's a 100-meter specialist. But for any budding wheelchair racer watching, pay close attention to Dedrick. Even if you don't like the 100 meters particularly, which she does, but even if you don't, developing that speed and that change of pace can really, really help, as we saw her take that automatic qualifying spot in the 1500. It's a powerful weapon to have.
Well, Kataya and Dedrick qualify. The rest will have to wait. That looks tasty. I wouldn't mind a donut.
Well, this is the men's shot put F46 and Sachin Khilari. For India, they've been very successful so far this week in the high jump. F46, the single arm amputee category. That is a major effort by Khilari. Josh Sinemo is a defending champion in this, the world record in this. And Khilari sending that out to a new Asian record, 16 meters 21. A big lead for India. So Khilari takes the gold for India with that Asian record. Josh Sinemo, the defending champion, gets the silver. And it was Kerwin Noaimdo of South Africa who got the bronze. So who'll get the win in this? Second heat of 3 in the women's 100 meters T54. Amanda Kataya has already delighted those watching at home on Finnish television, as she has won her heat, and now the rest have to follow. Leah Baerkula of Belgium finished 7th in the 1500 final here. She goes in 3. Lucia May finished 4th in the 800 here this week. She goes in lane 4. Alexandra Helbling of Switzerland, excellent sprinter, who we are seeing in the 100 here only. Naomi Alphonse, semi-finalist in the 800 and the 1500 here for Mauritius in lane 6, lifetime best this year of 1562. Zubeidi Süpürgeçi of Turkey in 7, and going solely in the 800 meters was due to be Fatou Sena, but she's not. This was going to be her only competition. So Baerkula, Lu, Helbling, Alphonse and Süpürgeçi. Fastest in the field this year is Noemi Alphonse. top 2 to qualify, plus the next 2 across the 3 heats to go through to the final. Away, first time, Helbling and Alphonse away, very good. Super Geshi trying to move up, but it's Naomi Alphonse, 15.62. It's a great breakthrough year for her in terms of her fastest time. This is going to be close to it. Alphonse takes it 16.50, Lou in second, Bayakula in third spot. They are the 3 who progress. Well, what a time for Belgium last night with that T52 world record, which I can tell you has made big headlines back in Belgium. And Bayakula can add to that, perhaps later on in this competition, but Alphonse makes it, and Lou as well, 16.50. Bayakula through as well.
That was just such a, I think smooth is the word that I would give to that. And what I really love, we'll see a replay, what I really loved about it was just how quick her hand speed was, and that really was the difference between how quickly she not only got off the line but maintained that speed. You can see just a little bit of the wheels are slightly bouncing at the top there, and again that's just a sign of how much power, but just look at the hand speed there and just how smoothly and how accurately she hits that rim. And when it comes to the 100 meters, occasionally you will see in races pushers will sometimes have little marks on the inside of their bicep, and that's just a sign that they've slipped off their push rims and it's got caught a little bit. And right now we've got a close-up of that hand speed, and again the accuracy, because if you slip off even one push in the 100 meters, it ruins the acceleration, and the race is so short that you can't recover from that. So again, this is hand speed, it's power, it's precision, and that is what gets you that speed.
Well, she finished 5th in the Paralympic Games, did Naomi Alphonse. She looks in nice mood to replicate that, or maybe do better. She's done her job, and she's done it very, very effectively, I have to say. So Alphonse and Lou are through. Leia Bayakula in third, does have to wait. It is only 2 going through, not 3. 17.34. Maxime Karaban was quite the feature on public television last night. Sporza in Belgium. Here goes Cheetah in the long jump.
Currently sitting in 5th position. This is 5th attempt for the Tunisian. He's 5.87 so far. He's a distance off Karim Chan, and realistically, making up that distance, he would have to come up with something extra special. His lifetime best is 6.50. That would put him past Chan, but he hasn't threatened to go anywhere near that mark as yet. This one around the 6 metre mark again. 5.79, 5.86, 5.85, 5.87 thus far, and 5.97 for Cheetah. So season best for him by 3 centimetres. He does stay though in 5th position.
I do wonder, as this competition has carried on, the wind has certainly picked up, and picked up in a way that it's quite gusty, and gusty is the absolute worst wind. We're very fortunate that Tulson had quick reflexes and was able to grab our umbrella, and actually I thought you might fly away with it, but as a long jumper, this is tough because you're at the business end of the competition. You are ready to give it everything you have, and yet if there is a wind, it causes you to lose just that little bit of confidence in the accuracy of your run-up.
Well, the wind is into the long jumpers' faces. I felt like Mary Poppins a moment or two ago when I held onto that umbrella. Karim Chan has just flown like Mary Poppins, and he's gone further into the pit. Hopefully for him, he needs to make up 3 centimetres on Lemos in 3rd position of Colombia, the man who's already gained gold in the javelin at these championships, and that's not a bad jump off the board. He's extremely consistent with where he jumps on the board. Each time, he's always been there or thereabouts, up close, near that plasticine, but not going over it. That's a great example of it, and I'm sure we'll see from a side-on angle in a moment how close he does come. He's leaving nothing to chance with the board, as you can see.
He has dealt with the conditions so well. I love his runway. Not only does he not slow down, it's almost like he has this sixth sense, like a spidey sense, that some long jumpers really do develop.
Well, he does go into third place on 6:39, level with Lemos.
Well, Chan has done brilliantly on count back. He goes into third spot. His second longest distance is further than Lemos. Global championship debut for Karim Chan. The Chanwood AC, trained by Wukas Suwiva. Brilliant stuff from him. Time for Lemos to potentially respond. It is a white flag. It is a fair jump. Lemos' second longest effort, 6:31, which he's done twice. Chan went 6:36 in round 2, along with the two 6:39s we've currently seen. And Chan, by the way, was into a massive headwind, 3.9.
Yeah, only a much different headwind for the 6:39 that Lemos had jumped earlier. Was only negative 0.8. Negative 3.9 for Chan when he jumped. Now that is a good jump from Lemos as far as board goes and where he needs to be. He hasn't lost too much ground.
It's not an easy thing to watch the jumper in front of you suddenly climb up and take what you thought was your position you're holding on to.
And he didn't take it back either because he's 9 centimetres shy of his best. So 6:30, so it is Karim Chan who remains in third position. But that wind was only negative 0.5 then for the jump of Lemos. So quite some difference, and he couldn't get that extra distance he needed. It has picked up. This today is into the jumper's face, and it's the most wind we've seen throughout these championships, and this is day 7. It's been negligible throughout. The windsock has picked up. It's swirling around the stadium in patches, we have to say. It isn't consistent, it's in patches.
It's the inconsistency that's harder to deal with. If it's in your face consistently or behind you, at least you know it's accurate.
Well, Zhu has 30 seconds left. Opts to leave now. There is a slight headwind for him. Well, that looked pretty good. I still think he could make up a bit of time on the board. We'll see a replay of that, but the jump itself, wonderful.
The jump itself, the runway, it is beautiful. And we did see on the previous one that he actually jumped farther than the current leading mark if we factor into how far behind the board he was. And again, he's still not actually touching the board. So I would say we're going to go into the 6th round. If I was coaching, not that I'd like to say what coaches should do, but if I was coaching, I would instruct him to move that runway up, get aggressive and go for it, because there's nothing to lose at this point, even if you do foul.
Absolutely. 6:58 into a very slight headwind on that occasion. He stays in second position. If he had have jumped from the board, he would be in first position. There's that windsock. It has picked up since Zhu jumped just then. It was 0.2. It's picked up since. It will be in the face of these athletes as they head to the women's 100 metres T54 round 1 final heat. Last race of the morning session. The third of 3 heats. T54 category wheelchair race over at 100 metres. Alicia Mustinelli, first major championships for the 22-year-old, and she looks across to her right, and who does she see? A lady who has 8 Paralympic golds, 13 World Championship golds, and a gold medalist so many times over, you must be nervous being next to her. Maroka Momoka, 3 golds and a silver in Beijing 2022 in the Winter Paralympics. Zhu will go from lane 6 for China, the reigning Paralympic champion. Silver medalist back in 2019. First major championships for that young lady, Catherine Cole of Luxembourg. And Freya Jorgensen as the helicopters fly over above the final race of the morning session. So the racers line up as the helicopters line up over the top of us. Bastille Day, in case you're wondering why. Wonderful camera work. The skies have cleared just in time for them as well. So the women's 100 metres T54 final heat of 3 gets underway, and McFadden is out to a lead in lane 4 and working hard. 2 lanes across from her is June, the reigning Paralympic champion. It'll be those two who go through. McFadden's time of 16.17. So McFadden qualifies first. Zhu, the Paralympic champion, goes through second, and then we'll have to see who the qualifiers are going through to the final. But Tatiana McFadden got out to a very fast start just then. The fastest time across those 3 heats. She'll have a solid lane draw for the final. McFadden, 16.52 for Zhu. Muruoka, 17.02 in 3rd place. But McFadden out extremely quickly with that arm speed.
Tatiana McFadden is so strong and really is a force to deal with in the 100 meters. And it's great, actually, to see her coming back into her own. But this is back to the long jump, who also had to wait while the helicopters flew overhead.
Absolutely. And it's Zhong landing at 670. So the basic fact is he's only had 1 out of 4 successful attempts prior to that. Zhu, his last 2 attempts, in actuality being longer than 670, but he hasn't hit the board. So it is China 1 and 2, and Zhong, who's awaiting his first global title. And in the last Asian Games in Jakarta, won silver in the 4 and the long jump. He's had Zhu ahead of him in the queue the entire time, even domestically. This might well be Zhong's day.
Well, the good news for Zhong is that did look to be a legal jump. So not only has he reestablished his runway for his final jump, he now has a backup jump in the event that there was a tie.
Zhong, 647. Doesn't improve, but he is our leader on 670. Zhu, second, 658. And Karim Chan, third, on 639. He's really come out of the pack on his global debut, the former world junior long jump champion.
Just talk us through, Steph, when it comes to wheelchair racing, the start is obviously real quick, but what would an athlete in a wheelchair work on the most in a 100-metre race?
I think in a 100-metre race, it comes down to power and hand speed, which we can see Tatiana McFadden has a lot of. She's a dominant force here, but it's also great to see her coming back into her best. She's been on the scene for forever. I remember watching her back in 2004 when she was just a teenager. And in every athlete's career, things change, and she's had to take a step back and focus on a few different things for a variety of reasons. And she's changed her coaching setup. She's back coaching with Peter Eriksson. She has a different chair, and it's great just to see the way that athletes can commit to that change. It takes courage to evolve, especially when you've been established for so long.
Well, McFadden has gone through in the fastest time. That heat, the fastest of the 3. Now that's twofold. McFadden goes through first, Zhu second, and it also means that Muruoka and Musanelli of Japan and Switzerland respectively go through as the 2 fastest qualifiers to the final.
What that also means is that for the other heats, anybody not in the top 2, they are now out. So Kavitadze has had quite a few misses in this competition. His best 5.63 coming in round 4. They've started staging quite a number of top competitions. You might remember they had the European Youth Olympics a couple of years ago. They've had the powerlifting world championships, actually the weightlifting, the able-bodied weightlifting world championships quite a number of times in recent years. So well on the circuit now in Tbilisi. This is the last event left on, so we will see this to its conclusion uninterrupted unless further helicopters come along. 5.63 in round 4. He's used the board okay there. Oh, hey, there they are. They're back for more. It is Bastille Day here. Maybe they're all going to a party somewhere. So Kavitadze, I can tell you, is 5.51. But again, into a headwind of 3.4. Ryan Medrano, as we've said a few times this week, didn't know much about para-athletics until he was competing last year in Survivor USA alongside a very prominent US Paralympian. Got interested. He is a CP athlete and a very good one. He's 7th in this. It's his championship debut. He's reached quite a few finals. That'll be a foul and a red flag. But 7th in the long jump in his major championship debut.
I do wonder if appearing on these reality TV shows perhaps has a bit of a performance effect. Just because, in a sense, coming out and competing is a performance. You have an audience, and just that ability to deal with that additional pressure of all those eyes on you.
Well, Steph, having been on MasterChef on Ice, or something like that, you tell me.
Well, MasterChef on Ice, that would be interesting.
I would pay to watch that.
But no, do you know what? Well, as it turned out, I ended up doing dancing on ice beyond my career. But I do think that there is something in it. Part of being an athlete is being able to handle the pressure of those big moments. And I can tell you, having to skate on ice when you're not that good of a skater in front of millions is quite tough.
Could we see Brent Lakatos on MasterChef?
Do you know what? Brent is actually an excellent coach. Terrible at doing dishes. An excellent cook. Terrible at doing dishes, but an excellent cook.
Steph, apply for Celebrity Mastermind now. I'm telling you. Senek in 6th spot. 580. His only global medal, bronze in London in 2017 in this long jump. So to get into the medals, he needs an extra 60 centimeters. In his career, he has got there. This season, he hasn't. Didn't use much of the board there. Well, it's a solid effort for Senek. A solid set of results. It is 6th in this World Championship final for him.
Now, he would have known going into this jump that it was a big distance for him to get into the medals, but this is all part of the process and the development, because the day will come where he does find himself closer to the medals, and this is almost that rehearsal of being in the final round and figuring out what it takes to produce on that final jump.
And actually, he's just limped across over. I mean, he's given it his best. Irina Voskina, very good Ukrainian coach who's been in charge of the para setup, one of the head coaches in para athletics for Australia for many years, coached Ukraine's head coach, who's also Irina. And I mean, you think about what the last 18 months have been for them, and they've still been able to send a full team here, and they performed really well. Chida in 5th spot for Tunisia, 5.97. 6.50 is his lifetime best. 5.94 was his season's best prior to this. If he can break 6 meters for the first time this year, he's got a chance. But I'm not sure that's it. He's tried to crisscross his way into the top 3. And he has broken 6 meters for the first time this year, but it will not be enough to progress.
Well, that is great to see an athlete produce the best jump on the final round. And again, just to deal with those wind conditions. But as I say, it's a great skill in and of itself to be able to take those cues from your coach and to make those minor adjustments. And the more that you rehearse it throughout your years as a long jumper, when you find yourself on that big moment at a Paralympics, at another World Championships, you'll know that you have the skill set to produce.
Chida, 6.01.
Well, the Daddy Macs are yet to come in this top 4. Lemos, Chan, Zhu, and Zhong. One last attempt at glory for Lemos, who needs to catch go past Karim Chan. Well, that one looks all right. He's okay on the board, and that is pushing out there quite some distance. Lemos, who's already won the gold in the javelin, his lifetime best is 6.78. He knows how to deal with pressure. He's been there before. And that is going to take him into third position. 6.51 is the recorded time. You can hear the cheering in the background. So Lemos with his last jump, and what a jump as far as his position on the board goes, has now put the pressure well and truly back on Great Britain's Karim Chan. 12 centimetres Chan has to make up to go level with Lemos, which would take him past on the countback. What is going through his mind?
Chan has just watched that bronze medal slip from his fingers, and he is now having to gather himself and to remind himself that he can do it, but it will require a personal best.
Well, here he goes. Karim Chan of Great Britain, one last shot at glory. Well, he's got further onto the board, but I don't think that's going to be far enough to catch Lemos. I think he's going to have to be content with fourth position.
Well, just put into context, this is his championship debut. He's not even been in the Europeans before. He won the World Junior title in Knoxville 4 years ago. He's developed quickly, really well, and if on his debut he can get into the top 4 in the world, there'll be disappointment that he doesn't get a medal here, but he's one of the top 4 in the world. The only way is up.
I think that's a good point to mention as well. Lots of times we forget how many years athletes have spent honing their technique and to be honest, not winning. You spend more of your time not winning than winning, and his time will come. And again, that's so great to see that throughout all of those jumps. Oh, that's Karim Chan with his family just there.
6.18. The big thing, though, is the consistency on the board. Every single jump, he has been consistent on the board, so there is so much to work with as far as his technique goes.
And the fact is, he's 22 years old, so this is the start of a very good international career, and his family can be justifiably very, very proud of that man.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. Absolutely wonderful. It's moments like that that you live for. So Zhu, reigning world and Paralympic champion, if he hits the board, he could go near the end of the pit. He's been way back from the board, 6.58. He's 12 centimetres off his compatriot, Zhong. Well, that's big. He's been given the white flag. I still don't know if he actually made it onto the board.
But that's what I mean. When it comes to long jumping, yes, you're always going to have this dilemma of speed versus being really accurate. It's easy to be accurate when you're running slowly, and he's chosen speed, and that was a stunning jump.
Well, Zhu, we'll just see the jump here and where he takes off from, and it is, again, before the board. Now, looking down at the body language, you would suspect that he's done it. Now, 6.76 is his season best. He hasn't gone past that. 6.58 he had. He needs to improve by 13 centimetres to go past Zhong. His coach likes it. He liked it. And why wouldn't he? 6.78. It lifts him up 20 centimetres and more importantly puts him 8 centimetres ahead of Zhong. He's in the gold medal position within touching distance of retaining that gold medal from 4 years ago.
But he's not safe yet. We have seen so many different changes in position, and there is still someone to come who will get the final word.
Now, if you're Zhong and you've been leading, and now you come to the very end of the competition, all eyes are on you. You have to reach another 8 centimetres to win the gold medal. What do you do? How do you feel? How do you deal with it?
This is such a lesson in emotional management, and sometimes I've gotten to that point where you think you're safe and you have it, and someone does that and you have to readjust your mindset very quickly.
Well, Zhong has passed his last attempt, so we can only assume that he has an injury, and he's decided not to jump in his final attempt. So a season best 670 for him with his second jump. He has conceded the gold medal and accepted that he won't jump in his final attempt. There must be an injury of sorts that he thinks he can't get out near that mark that Zhu has got. So there were 3 fouls in the first 5 jumps for Zhong. 670 with his second, 647 with his fifth. He's opted not to go with his final attempt. So it is Zhu Dening with a final jump of 678 who retains his World Championship gold from 4 years ago. He remains the World and Paralympic champion. Lemos of Colombia with a remarkable final jump took himself into the bronze medal position past Great Britain's youngster Karim Chan. So Colombia with the bronze and China with gold and silver. So that's how it ended up, a season best from Zhu in his final jump, 3 centimetres past his season best to date. Zhong in the silver medal position, opting not to go at the end, and Lemos of Colombia with that bronze medal. 2 season bests through Senik and Captarazzi. Crombie and Ramos didn't get past the opening 3 jumps. Well, the sun's come out as the morning's got on Bastille Day. Chilly to start with. It's certainly warmed up within the hour or 2 in the morning. More breeze than we've seen so far at these championships on day 7. It has calmed slightly. It'll be interesting to see when the evening session comes around just how it looks as far as that goes, because the wind can make quite some difference on the track especially, and with long jumpers at these championships in Paris in 2023. We've seen the planes, we've seen the helicopters, we've lost the clouds, the majority of it, and we've seen yet again some quite outstanding performances from the men and women in these Para-Athletics World Championships in Paris at Stade Charlotte. It all got underway with the men's javelin throw F34. Saeed Afrouz, the Paralympic champion. World record of 40.27. Saw off the former world champion Mauricio Valencia. Menezes of Colombia making it a Colombian silver and bronze. Campoggio, the only F33 to go in that F34 category.
Women's discus F41, Rawa Tlili does it again. A 7th world title, a 13th global crown, championship record for Tunisia. Karim, silver for Morocco. Lopez Recudor getting the bronze medal. And this time, Hayat El Garra is just edged out.
Men's shot put F46. New Asian record for Kalari taking the gold. Sinamo, the former champion, a season best for him, had to settle for silver. And Namde of South Africa taking the bronze medal in 15.30 metres.
Five heats of the men's 100 metres T11. Total visual impairment, Marcel Butker and Anani Shikongo, the former Paralympic champion, both qualifying, but Mukunda on this occasion did not for France.
The second heat, Gerard Descarrega picking up the victory, qualifying in a time of 11.44, but also D'Souza Gomez and Agnamentarov going through. He equaled his lifetime best, 2 fastest qualifiers.
No worries for the reigning European and Paralympic champion Athanasios Gavalis. He's through for Greece, along with Ye Tao and George Kwarku for Canada.
Di Dong Dong, fastest in Heat 4, 11.58, also qualifying his second event of these championships. Chris Kinder of Namibia.
Timothy Adolphe qualifying, 11.33, aiming for more global success here. Eduardo Uceda of Spain also through.
Zhu Dening, his final jump, the reigning Paralympic and world champion, retained the title he won in 2019. Zhong, with a season best, opting not to go in his final jump, picks up the silver. Lemos of Colombia takes the bronze medal in his final jump, defeating his opponents. Brian Seaman, season best for him. And then men's 100 metres T53. Al Qurashi and Fairbank at the ripe old age of 52 also qualifying, as did Yu of South Korea.
Aristovaldo Fernandez claiming the second heat, progressing along with Pongsakorn Payo and Pitchet Krunchet, both of Thailand, and Yoon Kyung Chan of Korea.
Men's 100 metres T36. Chavez of Argentina. He was lightning in this one, equaling his season best. Turganov and Deng going through as the 3 qualifiers into the final.
Having won the 400 metres, James Turner for Australia off to a flyer in the men's 100 metres. They all qualified in this, including Didan, Mohamed Rizzo Ampuzi, Pereira and Pavlik.
Yaroslav Okapinski winning the gold medal in the men's 400 metres T37, a lifetime best for him. The former European champion Mikhail Kotkovsky having the settle for a season best. Silver and De Silva, talking about that, of Brazil, didn't get silver, he got bronze.
Marcel Hook got gold because he always gets gold. That is now the 11th of his career. Championship record 251.32. Brent Lakados silver for Canada. Prawat Raharam the bronze for Thailand, leaving a Thailand 3-4-5. Everybody inside the championship record, apart from Ludwig Malter, who did finish in the end, and an Oceania record for Sam Rizzo of Australia in 9th. 2:55 last time out, would have won gold.
3 heats in the women's 100 metres T54 wheelchair category. Amanda Kataya, the reigning world champion, 16:69 her opening heat. Hannah Dedrick also going through in a time of 17.35 for the young American.
Naomi Alphonse and Lu Shumei going through from the second heat of the 3. So Leia Berkule just missing out for Belgium. Alphonse, who finished 5th in the Paralympic Games in Tokyo.
And the final event of the track in the morning session came to an end with Tatiana McFadden qualifying fastest. Zhu going through as well, and that being the fastest heat also saw Muraoka and Musinelli of Japan and Switzerland respectively head through to the final into a slight headwind.
Well, China with those tremendous successes, continuing with the 1-2 in that long jump just moments ago. Zhu and Zhong, 29 medals claimed for them. United States, what high jump successes through Townsend and Freck. Switzerland now, it's 2 for Marcel Hoog. De Brunner 3, Shah 1. Thailand picking up another bronze in that T54 1500 final, so 8 medals for them now. And India, of course, with that fabulous glory as well. For Aitchison and Grimaldi for New Zealand. Some silverware for them. Fleur Jong too, Netherlands too in terms of the golds this week. Italy with a clean sweep in there. T63 final, Sabatini leading through Caroni and Contraffato in the T63 100 meters. And the world's largest Italian flag as well. And Diana Cremina with her gold. Igo Zappinus scoring a great success for them as well. And headline news in Belgium last night as well with their world record in the T52, which I can tell you within a few minutes was one of the top stories in the Belgian sports scene. Rightly so. Canada have now picked up 9 medals. Brett Lakatos has got a couple of silvers there. Kashifaldi with the Norwegian gold in the 100 meters. Rujdi for Bulgaria with his gold. Denmark through Daniel Wagner. 56 nations have now won medals this week. Henri Mani for Finland, and Amanya Katai is hoping to add to that in the next 24 hours in the 100.
Well, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Has come back here on what has seen a morning of 6 finals, 4 in the field, 2 on the track. We'll have 11 finals in the evening, 4 on the field there and 7 on the track. It is Bastille Day. Celebrations in France. We'll be back later. From me, Tolson Tollett, Will Downing and Steph Reed. Bye-bye. Thank you.